Get it together.
La 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 la. Somebody's feeling Smurfy today.
And away we go, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. Welcome in. The Rye Brown Show is on your radio. This is the Fan Upstate. Howdy, y'all. How we doing? How's everybody? You guys having just the time of your lives? Yeah? Living the dream? Yeah! Well, we got a show lined up today. We got a lot to get into, a lot to talk about, a lot to discuss on the radio broadcast. My name is Rob Brown. How do you do? Upstate South Carolina. Hello, America. What up, world? Directly across from me on the other side of the metaphorical glass, on the other side of the literal ones and twos today, he is the Sultan of Swag, the Professor of Perfection, the Wizard of Wave himself, the great one. Lonzo's here as well. What up, Zoe?
Glad to be back and live on the air on this wonderful Wednesday morning.
Yeah, good day yesterday. We actually had a great time yesterday up there in Clemson, South Carolina. The Tigers do an excellent job with their open house and media day. I have worked events at a lot of colleges around the country, a lot of universities around the country, and I can tell you that event every year is the best one that I've been to. And that's not an insult thrown at anybody else. It is a compliment thrown purely at them. They do an incredible job with that event. That event is well put together. It's well organized. It's well run. It's just a very good event, top to bottom. And the access that they give us to get behind the scenes and see and interact with elements of the football program that are otherwise unknown to the general public, and then be able to come back and tell you guys about it is incredible.
Did you and Mark wear orange? Are you required to wear orange?
You are not required to wear orange.
I'm curious because I've never been, nor shall I, but that's fine.
We both, in fact, without discussing it, we're matching in the blue polos with the faded jeans and sneakers and tennies.
So station uniform.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, pretty much. No, it was great. It was great. And I'm going to talk a little bit about it later on in the show. But before we get there, I instead want to talk about this. Lonzo, yesterday evening, I worked a game as the in-arena entertainment for the Greenville Drive. And yesterday was a theme night. It was Advanced Mechanics and Engineering Night for the Greenville Drive. And as a, gigantic dork like me, it was one of the most incredible things I've ever seen. They had an industrial-sized 3D printer there. And, of course, I got into a long discussion because they can make anything, right? And they showed me how the scanning system works. They, scanned my head to show me what a 3D print of my dumb head would look like. That was very cool. They showed me how they can use 3D printers, but instead of the plastic tacky stuff that most of them use, they can 3D print with metal. They can literally make parts for their giant turbines. That was awesome. And of course, I ended up getting into a very long conversation about how if I owned a 3D printer, I would not be using it for bettering the world. I would solely be printing out D&D minis the whole time. And they had some of those there. It was great. Then we walked over to another spot. They had some folks there that had remote controlled like battle bots that you played soccer with. So you and your buddy could play soccer, but using RC robots. And they had 2 robots that were playing chess against each other. And it showed you how the algorithm worked, how it evaluates every possible move on the board, and the robots moved the pieces. It was unbelievable. And then,
all right, that part I have a problem with. So how can one robot beat the other robot?
I mean, at some point, there's a limited number of moves available, all of which inevitably lead to checkmate.
See, that's
at some point you run out of moves.
I'm calling shenanigans. It should be a stalemate every single time.
It was incredible.
Okay. All right.
And then, ladies and gentlemen,
I'm trying to stall from this part because I don't want to hear about this part.
For the first time in person, I got to meet one of the Boston Dynamics robo-dogs. And if you've been with this show for more than a couple of months, you know exactly what I'm talking about, because every time that Boston Dynamics puts out another video with one of the robo-dogs doing something incredible, dancing, flipping, jumping up and down, carrying stuff from A to B, every time that the robo-dog does anything and they put it on YouTube, I play the video because these things fascinate me. And there was a Boston Dynamics robo-dog at the game last night. And I'm going to tell you, there were 2 things. First off, you got very lucky that I'm an idiot. Okay? You got very lucky that I'm an idiot, Lonzo, because I filmed a video of me with the Boston Dynamics pupper. All right? I actually handed it the microphone that I use for the drive games, and I let it move the microphone for me and did an interview while it was holding the microphone and moving it back and forth between me and the guest, which was incredible. Then at the end, I handed it my cell phone and I pushed record and I let it record me using, and then it flipped the camera down and took a selfie of itself using my phone, except for your host is an idiot and I didn't switch my phone from camera to video. So it's literally just a picture of my face, what would have been the opening frame of the Boston Dynamics dog holding my camera and taking selfies and videos that I was 100% going to play on the show today, except for I just took pictures instead of videos like an idiot.
That's unfortunate.
It was awesome.
So the video that you did put out there, is that of the actual thing?
That's the actual thing.
I just, and I'm just curious, you know, in a video game, if you're looking at that thing that's supposed to be his head, what would that be? What would that be, Rob?
It's a claw.
What's this? No.
It's a grabber.
The head of the thing that you posted.
Are you going the direction of Keegan where you're sticking a weapon on the end of it?
The head could be a weapon because it's weapon shaped. Absolutely. When you see that, yeah. How do you not think that?
So let me tell you what I did. I asked the question because I met the guy. His name was Mark. I met the guy who was driving the robo-dog, right? And I was like, let me ask you a question. So the neck on these things can like raise up in the air. So it can reach like 3 times its height. It can stand up and then the neck extends. And I'm like, all right, how sensitive is that claw? Is it just like it's going to mash anything? And it goes, no. He goes, stick your finger in there. And of course, I immediately did that. So I like put my finger and it closes the claw and it gets down to where it's just touching my finger on both sides. And he's rotating it around, can barely feel it, but it's got a grip on it. So I go, oh, can he hold a cell phone camera? He goes, yeah, we take selfies with it all the time. So I put my camera in there, my phone, and he held my camera, was walking around with it. It was unbelievable. Here was my favorite part, and the part that I thought about you. One of the things that it was just walking the concourse, right? And the guy driving it is either walking behind it watching, but it's also got a camera on the front and back, so he can drive it around the whole stadium without leaving his seat. So he drives it over to a group of like 5 or 6 kids. And the kids are all, like me, they're all enamored with it. And then he makes the robot start dancing, right? Start bouncing back and forth and rocking back and forth and jumping up and down. And he turns to this one kid.
By the way, really quick, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter, you could see Rob doing the dirty Dom right now. Go ahead.
That's the Eddie Guerrero, baby.
It used to be.
Viva la raza. So he walks it over to these group of kids. and a couple of kids are dancing, and then he turns it towards this kid who's probably 5-6 years old. He turns it to this kid, and he does the dance, and the kid screams and runs away, right? It's like baby Lonzo. It's like, no! Took off, gone, right? And the robot dog, who's got its head up in the air, the head, which, by the way, is a machine and doesn't have eyes. The head follows the kid, Lonzo, as he runs away. The robot drops its head down like a sad dog, turns around, walks back to the table, and lays down at the table like a sad dog. And half the people in the crowd went, "Aw, that's so sad."
Yeah.
The robot was controlling the emotions of more than half of the crowd. It's a robot. It only did that because the guy with the controller made it do that. But as soon as it laid down, everybody there, "Aw, that's so sad. It's a sad robot." Lonzo, that sad robot puppy, had half the crowd eating out of the not palm of its not hand. And I'm like, Lonzo would be losing his mind right now for you people falling for this.
Because that's it, falling for it. Exactly. You make everyone comfortable with such a thing to the point where, oh, it's okay. Everyone's into this. It's all right. And next thing you know, robot overlords. But you know what? That's fine. That's fine. If that's what you want. I and many like me choose to rail against the machine.
You rage against the machine?
That is coming. Yes.
Yeah.
We're not raging yet, but we're railing right now.
I got to tell you, dudes.
Raging's right above railing, by the way.
It was awesome. It was so cool to see in person, man. It was so cool to see in person. So anyway, that was great. Immediately thought of the great one. I'm like, Alonzo he'd be flipping his lid right now. He'd be losing his mind right now that this robot is playing the emotion of over half the crowd because a guy with a controller thought it would be funny. Oh, that dude was having a ball. It was incredible. All right. We got a show lined up for you today, ladies and gentlemen. Coming up in the next segment of the show, I was there yesterday. I'm going to tell you a little bit about what went down from my perspective at Clemson's Media Day and Open House over there on campus because it was an incredible experience, man. It always is. That's the second time I've been since I have been here. I am going to go ahead and get it out of the way. Lonzo said I shouldn't admit this, but I wear my L's like I wear my dubs. It took him 3 years of admitted. I was on his show yesterday, and he admitted that every time he hits up a mall or a barcade or whatever, all he does is work out Pop-A-Shot. It took him 3 years, but Mark Ryan finally got me a Pop-A-Shot yesterday by a point, 65-64. Now, I'm going to tell you that the average score for me was higher. My average score was sitting about 57, 58.
So this is like when he
had the game of his life.
No. This is like when he beat us at bowling and then stopped bowling.
Correct. Well, so we started playing. They gave us the first, all the assistant coaches, and then they gave us a tour of the facility, including their recruiting room. And I want to talk about that coming up here in just a minute, because during the discussion, I had a thought, and I actually got it confirmed from a couple of Clemson coaches who are part of this process. And then they took us down to the player lounge, and that's where the bowling alley is, and the ping pong table, and the pool table, and the Pop-A-Shot, and all that. And we both straight over to the Pop-A-Shot, right? And we start getting at it. Start getting at the Pop-A-Shot. So we start going in game one. It's like 55-42, Rob wins. Game two, it's like 57-45, Rob wins. Game three, it's like 52-27, Rob wins.
So you did a home run derby. You got tired.
Correct. That's exactly what happened.
Okay.
We were going at it. And it's kind of like I beat him on probably 12 out of 13 games. But the one he won was the highest of the high scores, right? Like, I beat him head-to-head probably 13 out of 14 times we played, but the one that he got me was the highest score of the day. And I got to tell you, so we played, like I said, probably like 14 games, just back and forth. You're talking a minute a pop of just shot. Like, it was exhausting. When I say I was sweating, not glistening, I was straight up, let me excuse myself to go to the bathroom and wipe my forehead like fat guy like fat guy preaching in the South in August sweating. All right, just drenched.
Come on
in
now.
sweat.
Come on. You were sweating that much.
Dude.
Okay.
We were getting it, right? And so we get to the point where I've put him down like legitimately a dozen times in a row. And I'm like, that's it. I'm taking a break. I got to take a break. I'm gonna go get some lemonade. I'm going to go relax for a second. Lunch is served. I'm going to grab some lunch. Let him sit over here and try to finish it. And then he calls me over like a minute later, and he's like, Rob Brown, bang, points at it, 65.
Wait. So you walked away?
I did, but there were other people watching. I believe
you're sure? Yeah.
Yeah.
You know how people watching can make sure is if they participate. So you don't know that someone didn't step in, a surrogate, if you will, to help him get that final score. You walked away. So we don't know for sure that was his score, because the average scores that you're talking about him hitting all day, that seems quite a jump there, Rob. I'm just saying. It's quite a jump. And if you lost eye contact, you walked away.
Listen,
something could have happened.
I am not going to accuse him of lying for the sake of taking the Papa Shot crown from me, right? I'm not. There were other people there. They were all standing around. Nobody, and trust me, we're media. Our job is to tell the truth when the truth hurts, yeah? Nobody, and I'm sure somebody would have went, no, dude. Else shot that.
But he
called CJ Spiller over to knock those down.
He was home. So when you go home, there's someone there who can help you out. I mean, that's a little nod, wink, wink. I saw him taking pictures with people like Taj Boyd, guys like that.
So did I.
Yeah, Taj could have jumped in there and helped him out. So listen, I'm just saying.
I am not gonna say,
Taj, if you're listening, did you help Mark Ryan win the Papa Shot?
I am not gonna say he gamed me. All right. I didn't see the 65, but I think he got me. And so,
oh, you think? So now I've instilled some doubt there.
He got me. There's no way he didn't got me.
If you walked away, yeah, he got you all right. He did. You got. That's what happened.
So I walk back over. I look at the score. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. So now
exactly, because you know why? Because it's unbelievable. You didn't believe that there's any chance that he could do that on his own.
I didn't see a 65 in him. I think at that point, like the highest he had got was like a 50. I think he got a 55 at one point to my 57. And I'm like, there's just no way. But I walk back over and he's sitting there with a 65 with a group around. And I'm like, oh, damn, man.
With a group around him. Am I wrong, people? Am I wrong for being suspicious? I mean, what do you guys think? I'm just saying.
I'm going to say, until it is proven to the contrary, he got me. And it's okay. It's all right. I got it. I understand. You can't win them all. Even Brady lost the Super Bowl.
What kind of look did he have on his face?
Smug.
No, he has a tell.
Smug.
He absolutely has a tell.
Smug. So all I'm gonna say is it took you know what it took? It took his Kobe Bryant 81 game to get me by one. And from a dude that admitted that every time he goes out,
but still yet
he works on Papa Shot.
But still yet, every game leading up to that, you were smoking him. Dude, there was a ringer standing right there who jumped in as soon as you turned your back.
I will 100% let you hang on to the conspiracy theory. I'm good for it. I am going to graciously accept my L. I am going to ride off into the not sunset with my L. I am going to hang my hat on I took the L and come back next year better, stronger, bigger, faster, and more ready. Here's what I know. I now know the location of not just 2 Pop-A-Shots in the area, but the same Pop-A-Shot machine that they have there. And since he told me every day that I have left the house since the last time we played this, I have worked on my Pop-A-Shot game. He told me, and I don't think I'm letting any cats out of bags here. He goes, my Christmas gift this year from the wifey is a Pop-A-Shot machine, right? That's his life, dog. That's his thing. That's what he does. Pop-A-Shot is his glory. He got me by 1 point yesterday. And
Allegedly.
I accept the L. I accept the L. He got me. Congratulations. I am going to say this. Number one, I'm not taking this loss lying down.
If I see him later, I'm gonna ask him.
Have that.
No, I just want to see the tell because he has a tell, and if I see that tell, then my suspicions will be confirmed.
Have that. He got me, and now that is, ladies and gentlemen, 2 consecutive sporting events that Mark Ryan has bested me. 2 in a row. That's not gonna work for me, bro.
Especially he's considerably older than you too.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's that.
Yeah, that's not going to work for me. So I need you to know, and this is gonna, I'm gonna get myself in trouble here, and that's okay. I do it for your entertainment, people. I want you to know that I have been trying to get back in shape for a handful of different reasons. Number one, probably going to be playing some rec league softball coming up here in a couple of weeks. You know, you don't want to go out there fat and slow.
Make sure you
wreck
stretch,
your
by
rec
the way.
team.
Stretching is very important.
Number two, I'm getting married in a little over a year. I don't want to be the fat guy in a little coat at my own wedding. I want to get back in shape. Number three,
you know they let those things out. Taylor.
No, I don't want to be a fat guy in a suit. You can tailor the suit.
Right.
You're still a fat guy in a suit. I'm not trying to be a fat guy in a suit.
You know, girdles work, I hear.
I'm not doing that. Just get my lazy ass in shape.
All right.
All right.
Or you could do that. Yeah.
So I got all these things that I'm like, all right, I got to do that. I'm not kidding, exaggerating, lying when I say that yesterday afternoon at 12:27 p.m., when I had to stop popping the shots because we had 3 minutes till 3 minutes till Dabo came out. I'm the only guy in the lounge. It's me. It's CJ Spiller and friend Susan of the show, Susan the photographer. She and CJ Spiller are playing pool. I'm on Pop-A-Shot. Taj is in the golf simulator with a couple of the players, right? We're the only ones that are in the set. I am wrecking Pop-A-Shot. And I'm getting 62, 64, 61, 64, 59, 63, 60. I just can't get that one extra shot to fall. And with 12:27, I walk back into the main room. I am drenched with sweat. My shirt is changing colors because of the sweat that I have put into Pop-A-Shot. And I am more inspired to get back in shape, to do cardio, to get the stamina back up, more inspired by making sure that whatever the next Fan Upstate sporting event is, that I do not lose a third to Mark Ryan. I am more inspired to get in shape for that than my own friggin' wedding. Yeehaw! We got to take a break. When we come back, I'm going to go take you a little bit behind the scenes from what I saw and experienced yesterday, including one thought that I had while we were there that I then had a discussion with a couple of the defensive coaches who agreed and said that the game has been changed in the way that recruiting works. And I'm going to tell you what I saw that led me to that when we come back. I'm Rob Brown. That's the great one, Lonzo. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate.
You see.
All right, guys, got a live read. Y'all stay right there. We'll be right back.
all the right people, even the most difficult jobs to fill. ZipRecruiter helps me keep my business running.
Take it from Marco and millions of other businesses who've used ZipRecruiter.
I'm sure it's all legit, guys. I am just poking fun.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/RADIO. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
Tired of getting
And Rob never implied for a minute. It was all me. Rob had nothing to do with that. It was all me. So if there's ire or whatever there should be from another party, it should be directed at me, not at Rob.
I'm Mark Ryan. If you're like me, you're no interior decorator and you need a bit of help putting together an outfit that pops. I'm beyond grateful I met my friends at Smith & James Fine Men's Clothing because they make me look like I know what I'm doing. They'll help you find the best color combinations with slacks, shirts, polos.
I remember back when Mark and I were friends, going to Dave and Buster's, and my daughter defeating him at Papa Shot.
Oh, that makes me feel better.
Raven's pretty good, though. I mean,
So am I.
yeah.
He even pointed out, he's like, dude, the first year we did it, every score I had was in the mid to high 60s. And just yesterday, I was just off my game. The first year, because that was the year Brent Venables was standing there. It was last year there. And Venables looked over and he was like, you're good at this, son. I was like, yeah, no, I know. And then I was just off yesterday. I just couldn't get it.
So you needed Venables there to help
so
you.
He's not my get back coach. He's my get up coach.
Well, maybe he'll be there next
He's
year.
my hype Wow.
Well, he is doing that thing where he's talking stuff about everybody else right now.
Did we get an ACC Karen update next week, buddy? Next week.
Hi, I'm Kyle at Blindster.com. At Blindster, we offer over 50 different custom window treatments, including faux wood blinds and shutters, all at prices less than retail. Plus, we'll send you free samples before you buy. Don't hire an expensive pro. Do it yourself and save big at Blindster.com.
Mark Ryan tells it like it is. Coming up on a Hump Day episode of Offsides with Mark Ryan and Diesel, Clemson and South Carolina failed to reach expectations in 2023. It will fill in the blank. We've got our ACC and SEC team preview stories. We've got the Elite Eight of our Upstate's favorite athlete bracket and so much more, all on a Hump Day episode.
Number 1 for real afternoon sports talk.
Offsides with Mark Ryan.
3 to 7 on the Fan.
Upstate.
Always streaming wherever you are on the Odyssey app. Make the Fan Upstate a favorite.
The Rob Brown Show is back on your radio. It is the Fan Upstate, ladies and gentlemen. Rob Brown, the great one, Lonzo, and of course you. 844-FAN phone, 844-FANFONE. That's 844-326-3663. The text line's open at 71307, 71307. Start your text with FAN, F-A-N, FAN, F-A-N, and we'll read them on the air. Yesterday, Mark and I were obviously, as we just mentioned, at Clemson's Open House Media Day. And there's really two different parts to this event. The first is we get the opportunity to speak with the majority of the coaches, right? Got a chance to speak one-on-one with Wes Goodwin, the defensive coordinator, second year for him, and got a chance, Mark and I both did, to speak two-on-one to new offensive coordinator Garrett Riley. Both of those interviews will run likely on tomorrow's show. I've got to edit and clean them up. Didn't get a chance to do that yesterday, or at least as much as I would have liked to play them on the air. So we'll have those interviews for you tomorrow. I'll tell you some of the things they said later. But we got to talk to CJ Spiller. Tosh Boyd was in the house. We got to hang out with him for a little while. Obviously, Dabo gave his press conference style interview at the end of the event. And then the second part of the event was the part that, frankly, was more interesting to me. And that is a wide open behind the scenes tour of the facility as a whole, of the day-to-day operations of the event. So the first probably 2 hours, 2.5 hours, we're all in the bistro where they put us basically where the players come and have their lunches, and we talk to the coaches, and then they open up the whole facility. And so we left the big room. We got to walk through the weight room where the team works out. I'm going to tell you right now, dude, I'd be jacked with that weight room in those facilities. All right. And I got pictures of all of this. I'm going to be dropping them on social media later on today as well. Weight room was gorgeous. And then they took us up to the recruiting area. They took us to what they're calling the branding center. Okay. And this place is pretty incredible. The first thing you see when you walk in is about a 100-person conference room. And what's very cool about this conference room is that the entire back wall of the room, right? So just the whole wall is a digital wall. People can write on it. They can put pictures and movies up there. They can draw on it. And it's the whole wall. It's incredible. Talk about presentation. Then they have in the back of this room, they've got about 40 chairs on the floor with desks built in. And then they have like stadium style risers because they fill this thing up with athletes to give them NIL advice, branding advice, how to build a brand. Then they walked us up the stairs and they took us to something that I did not know I was going to get to see, but was really glad I did. If you follow recruits on social media, if you follow team accounts on social media, one of the things that you see every year during recruiting season, Zoe, are these super dope pictures of the recruits, and they're in the team jersey and helmets, and they got like chains hanging off of them, and they got like sledgehammers, and they're in front of a white background, and they got all the graphics in there, and the smoke, and the lasers, and the pyro, and all that. And I've looked at these pictures before, and it's like, damn, dude, like they make these kids look like rock stars, man, right? Well, they took us into the studio where they take those photo shoots, and they let us talk to the young men and women who do this, who are predominantly all like public relations majors or brand expert majors or whatever the major they're taking is. And they showed us the process. In fact, Zoe, they even let us take a couple of recruiting pictures, right? They put us in front of the white wall where they take the recruiting pictures of these kids. And it was something else. It was unlike anything that I've ever experienced before. And they kind of laid out how this whole thing looks, how this whole thing works. They kind of laid out how they bring these guys in. They kind of laid out how they walk through the photo shoots, whatever. And even though they were like 10%ing the media, just to give you a rough idea of how it works, man, I walked in that room. The second I walked in that room, like 3 Clemson staffers walked up. They're like, "What's up, big fella? Welcome to the room." There he is. And I'm like, dog, do they know who I am? Do they know they didn't know who the hell I was. They just knew that they had one job, Zoe, and it was to make me feel special, make me feel like I was important, make me feel like I was not just supposed to be there, but I was supposed to be celebrated for being there. And I'm like, look, if this is like 10, 15% of what they give these kids, I get why these kids love recruiting so much.
Did you feel like the Penguin in Batman 2 when he got his public relations and he's like looking around like, what is going on here? And
I don't know how to describe it, man. I really don't. Like, I walked in the room.
So when you're Rob Brown, you already feel pretty good about yourself. Did you realize there was another level?
Like, I'm awesome. Right. I'm awesome all the time. And I know it, right? Yesterday, I got called at the baseball game by one of the girls who works for the team, right? I walked in, I'm like doing the high fives and everything. I got different high fives for every member of the promotions team I do with them. And one of the girls that works there, a young lady named Emma, she's also a Clemson student. She walked up and she goes, "Rob, dude, you're like a unicorn of energy. It just never stops," right? Which is a great nickname, and I'm taking it. I'm always awesome. I'm always over the top. It's just how I live my life, right? I don't have a great day. I make it a great day. And so I walked in the room, and as soon as I turned the corner to go into Photo Studio A, that's the one that they have the big white walls in there so they can take your picture and then they can Photoshop in anything they want. I walk in, and a young man and a young girl, both with these, like, I'm talking probably $10,000 worth of equipment hanging off their necks in terms of cameras and lenses and lights and all that, walk up. And they're like, "What's up, big guy? Welcome to Studio A. Man, we are glad to have you here, blah, blah, blah." They're like, "Let's get your picture, bro. Grab your picture." So they put me in front of, there's a wall with a big front, it stands out from the wall, and it's a backlit tiger paw, right? Orange tiger paw, white wall, purple wall, white light out from behind the paw. The dude walks over, and he's like, "Hold up. We can do better." I'm like, "What do you mean?" And he walks around this little corner, and he comes back. Lonzo, he's got one of those big chains, and he drapes it over my shoulders, and he's like, "Now you look like a dog." I was like, "Roo, roo, roo, roo. Damn right, son. Let's go." So grabbed a couple of pictures, right? And then I mentioned something. I don't know who I was talking to. Oh, I was talking to our friend Susan, friend of the show, Susan, one of the photographers. And I'm like, "Dude, I feel like a professional wrestler in here right now, right? Like they're posing and all this." And he goes, "Oh, wrestling guy." And I went, "Yeah." And he goes, "Hold up." And he walks behind, and he comes back out, and he hands me a sledgehammer. And he's like, "Triple H this thing, dude." And I'm like, "Oh my God. Yes." So now I got pictures in front of the wall. Look, I'm not a Clemson guy, right? I'm like I said, I'm a fan of everybody. I'm not a Clemson guy. But I got to tell you, bro, you walk up, hand me a sledgehammer, and tell me take a Triple H photo, I'm taking the damn picture. So now on the internet, I'm sorry to say, my man Famously Garnett showing up because I'm going in the next week on their Welcome Home South Carolina podcast, and I might get canceled from that appearance because of this. But there are now pictures floating around on the internet of Rob Brown in front of the Clemson Tiger Paw with a sledgehammer pointed at you and hoisted over my shoulder. Here's what I'm driving at, right? My job, my literal job is to remain neutral. It's my literal job is to not have a dog in the fight. Literal job. And I walked in yesterday, and now I got pictures of me in front of the tiger paw on the internet. All right.
All right. So I'm very, very disappointed that you fell for the hype, man. You fell for the hype. They got you. They did their job. Obviously,
they did their job. They did it really well.
You know who else does a good job with that? Carowinds, Broadway at the Beach. You know those places where you can like dress up as a knight or in a western.
Where you pay to do these
things.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
it's
I
the
didn't do that.
Same sort of thing. I mean, those guys are good too.
So I rolled up in there, and here's ultimately the point I'm driving at. My job is to remain neutral. My job is to go there.
Do they Photoshop? So they Photoshopped you in Clemson gear?
No.
Okay.
I still have the Fan Upstate gear
Okay.
on.
All right. So, okay.
I still have the Fan Upstate gear on.
Did they Photoshop Mark in Clemson gear?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. I'm just curious.
They really just took pictures of us, right? And so
here's the reason why I'm asking, because you're talking about all that. So I'm curious, do they Photoshop the jersey and that stuff on the perspective?
No. I know they don't,
or do they actually wear the jerseys?
In the next room was the room where they take those pictures, and there was a rack of jerseys.
Okay, all right.
Every number 1 through 99, and a rack of helmets. So when those guys come in, they go through the jerseys, they find that player's number, they pull it out, they put them in the jersey, they put them in the helmet. None of that's Photoshop. And that's kind of what I'm driving at here and this is not, and for the record, for the Carolina fans in the audience who were like, screw this guy, because I know there's at least one of you right now. Hold tight with me because I'm about to say something that I think is going to make you relatively happy. Okay. The point that I'm driving at here is that as somebody whose primary job, the number one role of this job is to be neutral in that Palmetto State rivalry. That's my job, is to talk about and address both sides and give equal credence to both. So I rolled up in there, as I do when I do these events, with every intention of don't be a fan, be a pro. And they went out of their way to successfully make me feel like a rock star. Ladies and gentlemen, that's what you now have to do. Because these kids, I'm a 38-year-old man. I'm going to say this, and it's not meant to sound like, oh, what a jackass of a comment, but it is. I have been a rock star for a long time. I have literally played 1,600-seat stadiums with my band, right? I have been a literal rock star. I'm not Steven Tyler. I don't know why the hell I picked Steven Tyler as my illustration, but you get it.
You think in demographics, so you're thinking everybody out there listening is like in their 50s?
And it's Aerosmith, man. Like everybody loves Aerosmith. Right?
Do they?
Honking on Bobo. All right. I'm not Steven Tyler. I'm not Adam Levine, I guess. I guess.
So you have no idea who.
No, he's Maroon 5. I'm just saying, does he qualify as rock star?
No, I mean, who's a current rock star that you could throw out there?
Dave Grohl still.
There we go. That
right?
works.
I'm not Dave Grohl.
Yeah, okay.
But I've been in some good spots, man. I've played in front of 1,600 people. I've been on the radio in major markets multiple times. I hosted a nationally syndicated show every Saturday. I'm a big deal. All right. Ooh.
As long as you don't talk about mahogany.
I walked up into that spot, and they turned me into they made me feel like that. And anyway, let me get to the crux of the story because we're out of time. I leave that room. I go down to their podcast room where they have a room set up just for the players to come in and cut podcasts. It's incredible. I go back out and I'm standing on the balcony that looks down to the indoor practice facility, and I'm talking to one of the coaches, right? Talking to a defensive backs coach. And I'm like, this is incredible, man. And he goes, this is the new normal. Like this, we have to do this now. And I said, why? And he goes, because you can't just bring a kid here anymore and go, here's our practice field, here's our stadium, here's our coaching staff. Don't you want to be here? That's not it. You now have to make these kids feel like world-class celebrities. You have got to, at a minimum, give them photo shoots where you play playlists that they give you on our $1 million audio system in here. We've got to dress them up. We got to make them feel like bona fide, genuine stars, because if we don't, and this is a quote, because if we don't, somebody else will. And at the end of the day, do you know what makes people make decisions? These are his words, not mine. And I agree with them 100%. Do you know what makes somebody make a decision more than anything else? When they feel special. When they feel special.
I got, went on recruiting trips in the 80s. So I can imagine what that would have felt like for that sort of thing. They would have got me pretty quick, probably. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. He said, if we don't make them feel that way, somebody else will. And these kids are kids, but they're people. And do you know what will make someone say yes to you faster than anything else? Make them feel special, right? That's it. That's the key. Make them feel special. He goes, if we make them feel special, more special than other schools, they want to be a part of this. They made me feel special. I'm going to do special things for them. Now, when we come back here in a minute, I want to tell you what this Clemson coach said to me yesterday that's going to make Carolina fans very happy. And I'll tell you what that is when we come back on the Rob Brown Show with the Fan Upstate. Yeah, no, like I said, I don't know why I went with Steven Tyler as my primary rock star.
I don't know, go with someone like Post Malone or something. I don't know.
Is Post Malone a rock star? For the record, I like Post Malone. Both as an artist and a dude.
During COVID, I saw him play like Nirvana and a Moo-Moo.
And it was great.
It was really good.
Yeah.
It really was. I don't know why he chose a Moo-Moo, but, that's fine. I guess it's comfortable. Can't wait to go Spartanburg.
home for Furman Paladin sports all year long. Download the Odyssey app, search the Fan Upstate, and listen anywhere on your phone. I'm Chuck Sanders with the Sports Flash on the Fan Upstate.
Attention business owners. Was your
Right, but he's still more modern than, yeah, I mean, you know. Well, what would you think the demographics for Post Malone are, Josh? Probably, you know, I don't know.
That's one of them. I said I got to lose weight. So these are the white backgrounds, right? I'll pull some of the other ones. I got to do them one at a time.
Discover how much you can claim. There's no cost or obligation. Call now. 888.
I got more of there he is vibes out of that last picture. I want to see the wrestling picture. There we go.
Right. Like I said.
No. Part of it looks good.
The job is to go and be neutral. But when dude pumps you, when he gasses you up, then and that, by the way, that's a freaking heavy chain, dude. That's a chain. When he gasses you up. No, they didn't make us do anything, FG. They didn't make me do anything. I walked in, dude's like, you're the man. There he is. Let's go. And then he's like, you're going to grab a picture. And I was like, nah, man, I'm good. Right? Because that's the game. He starts gassing me up. He goes and gets the chain. And I'm like, all right, that's kind of dope, right? That's kind of legit.
Yeah, but you could ask him to change the background.
They can't. That's a physical feature on
you
the wall.
just showed one where you were in front of
That's
the white wall.
Background, right?
Okay, all right,
but still, like that's how jacked up I was. Let me see if I can find. I don't think they sent me the sledgehammer ones yet. So, like, for instance,
I don't know if I would have threw that up there because someone's going to clip that, and that's now going to be
it's
used.
Out there. It's not a secret.
Okay,
like, it is what it is.
What's not a secret?
That picture existing.
Okay, all right.
I gotta take my logo off my face. So, like that one's great for clipping thumbnails and stuff, right?
That's great if you're describing how big the fish was. It was this big. Or you look like you're getting ready to do a bro hug. It makes me uncomfortable.
I did on accident. I did one thing, and I honestly to you did not think about it. But you're gonna see as soon as I show it to you.
So if I get a Discover card right now, I can earn twice the cash back.
No. You don't need to do it. Yes, I saw it.
Didn't intend. Dude literally was like, puff that chest out, bro. Give us a look, bro. And I went for it. I'm like, YOLO. Love it.
Yeah, but you didn't need to arch your back. You don't need to do that to puff the chest.
You have to puff the. You gotta pop the pecs, baby.
It's kind of like go like this. You don't
gotta
need
pop the pecs.
So you Raquel Rodriguez.
All right, wrapping up the first hour of the show. If you're not watching the stream at facebook.com/thefanupstate, twitter.com/thefanupstate, by searching and subscribing to the Fan Upstate on YouTube or the Rob Brown Show on Twitch, you're missing out. I showed some of the pictures from yesterday on the stream. I popped a couple of them up on the stream. So if you missed that, you can come check that out or just go back and watch the replay of it later. Let me say this before we get out of here for the hour. I told you about the conversation I was having with one of Clemson's defensive coaches on the railing next to the practice facility, where he said, look, we have two options. We can make these kids feel like rock stars, or we can let someone else do it and let them go there, because at the end of the day, players are still people, and people say yes to you when you make them feel special, right? When you make them feel special. Why are the good guys over and the bad guys not in wrestling? Because the good guys come out and tell you your town's awesome, your city's awesome, your football team's awesome, this specific food that you consider yours is awesome. And the bad guys come out and go, your city smells, your football team sucks, your food is awful, Cincinnati, stop it. And I said, that's really interesting. He said, look, This is the baseline. This isn't us going above and beyond. This is what you have to do. He said, because if we don't, other schools will jump in and grab these cats. They will make them feel special. And I said, really? And he said, yeah. He said, think about it this way. You think about Alabama and Nick Saban, right? So think about Alabama and Nick Saban. He said, what do you think is the commonly accepted vision, image of Saban in Alabama? It's like blue-collar football, right? It's lunch pail football. He goes, I want you to do me a favor. I want you to go to Alabama's football page and look at when they go behind the scenes recruiting. They started this. They went bigger and better with all this stuff than ever before. He said, I want you to think about LSU. Think about Brian Kelly. What is going on with Brian Kelly at LSU? Family. But he was putting out those videos of the camera where you stand on the platform and the camera spins around you and it puts you in slow motion. And he was doing those goofy white guy dances with the recruits that were making the rounds. And see, here's the thing. We were all laughing at him. We're like, oh my God, he's such a dork. But the players ate it up. And it made him feel special. Because what other head coach is getting up on a camera platform and hitting the boogie, hitting the soldier boy with the players? None of them, right? Brian Kelly did that with those guys, made him feel special. So he listed me a couple of schools that are doing an excellent job.
If he wants to know how to dance, he needs to talk to Shane Beamer.
Right. He listed a couple of schools who are doing, in his opinion, an excellent job. An excellent job at making kids feel special and wanting to play there. He mentioned Alabama. He mentioned LSU. He mentioned South Carolina. He said Shane Beamer is doing an excellent job of making these kids feel, his word, not mine, seen, right? He said they're showing up in Columbia, and unlike it was when Muschamp was there, unlike with Spurrier, and I'm adding this part, but he said in his words, Shane is doing a great job at making these kids feel seen. It is the dancing and it's the culture change versus climate change stuff. He said when they show up there, he's making these kids feel celebrated, and we have to do it better than them. We have to make sure that when they come here, they're getting the same treatment that they get in Columbia, but better, but over the top. Because we need them to feel more special here than they do in Columbia. He said it's LSU, it's Alabama, and it's South Carolina that they feel they are competing with when it comes to building up this recruiting background with the photo shoots and all that. And I thought, that's college football in 2023. It's as much about making a kid feel like a rock star as it is putting together a great game plan on Saturdays. We'll talk more about that later in the show. Rob Brown, Lonzo, the Rob Brown Show's on your radio. This is the Fan Upstate.
You can start having conversations in another language in just 3 weeks. Babbel's conversation method teaches you real-life words and phrases. And with Babbel's interactive bite-sized lessons, you'll remember what you learned.
¿Cómo te llamas?
¿Cómo te llamas?
¿De dónde eres?
¿De dónde eres?
When you learn a language, you want to actually use it. Babbel is designed with that goal in mind.
In just 3 weeks, we're starting to have conversations in Spanish.
Estoy muy emocionado para ir a España contigo.
Aw, he just said, I'm very excited to go to Spain with you. Vamos a tener mucha diversión.
And that means we're going to have so much fun.
Gracias, Babbel.
Language for life. Celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. Just go to Babbel.com and start learning a new language today. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
At Fisher Investments, we do things differently, and other money managers don't understand why.
Because our way works great for us.
But it may not work for your clients. That's why Fisher Investments is a fiduciary, obligated to put clients first. It's the highest standard for a financial advisor.
So what do you provide? Cookie cutter portfolios like the rest of us?
No cookie cutter portfolios here. Fisher Investments tailors portfolios to meet each client's goals and needs.
But you do sell investments that earn you high commissions, right? And make commissions when you make trades for your clients?
No, Fisher Investments doesn't sell any commission investment products, and we never earn commissions on trades.
So what's in it for you?
Fisher Investments fees are structured so we do better when our clients do better. When it comes to helping clients achieve a comfortable retirement, we're clearly different. Visit FisherInvestments.com to find out why investors like you switch to us. Fisher Investments, clearly different money management.
Investments and securities involve the risk of loss.
Celebrate Greenville's music scene every Thursday night at Piedmont Natural Gas Downtown Alive, presented by Clemson MBA. Join us for a free admission outdoor street party featuring live music in Noma Square. Piedmont Natural Gas Downtown Alive, Thursday evenings, March 16th through August 31st. Visit TVilleEvents.com for more info. Paladin fans, the 2023 college football season is just around the corner, and your Furman Paladins, coming off an 11-win season and a quarterfinal trip to the NCAA playoffs, are looking to take home the conference championship. Season tickets are available for less than $145 and provide access to the best pregame environment in the upstate. Secure your tickets now by calling 864-294-3517 or visit FurmanPaladins.com.
I'm Bob Burke, founder and chairman of Burke America Parts.
All right, sure. You don't have to be quiet during break stream. We can still chat. So, Greenville, what do you want to talk about?
You've driven everybody away with your Clemson talk.
I know, which is why we have the highest listener count of the day so far.
No, they always show up right around this time. I mean, you can try to do that, but it's not why they show up at this time every day. There's nothing to do with that thing he was just talking about.
Every fight song I hear now is just Chase U. And my uncrowned champion, Thea Hale.
Well, Tiffany did tap out. We all saw it.
We saw it.
Saturday, July 29th from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m.
And let's just say Mark and I have very different takes on what to expect from the boys in Process Blue this year.
Will the Bryce Young Frank Wright combo become
approved by?
I know.
Yeah.
Which I also don't understand.
Because you're not golden, man. You don't know what it's like. There's pressure when you're golden. There really is. When you're golden, what you got to deal with? You got to deal with people looking up at you thinking, why ain't I golden? And that's why you're not.
I guess. All right. Our new minute dose of the Rob Brown Show starts now. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It is the Fan Upstate. I am Rob. He is Lonzo. I am not going to spend the remainder of the show on this. But I find that conversation we were having really interesting. Maybe it's just me. Now, I think part of the reason I find it interesting is because, as I have mentioned to you and on this show multiple times, and this is something, honestly, that is probably cost me listeners at times. I'm not a giant recruiting guy, all right? I'm not a big Cruton guy. In fact, my hottest take on Cruton is don't tweet recruits. Let the recruits get recruited by the recruiters who do the recruiting. All right?
But Rob, back in 1975, when the Clemson Tigers had a shot at the number 2 recruit in Georgia, how do you not want to talk about that?
Here's the spot I find myself in. I understand.
Hold on one second. I said the word.
Okay.
All right, go ahead.
I understand that recruiting is the lifeblood of football. I understand that without good recruiting, your team suffers. I understand. It is what it is. It is the beating heart of college football is recruiting. If your team wants to be good, they got to recruit good. All right? I get it. I understand that. But unless recruiting is your job, you don't have the grasp on it you think you do. I don't care if you pay for all the subscription services. You don't have the grasp on it you think you do, right? You are talking about trying to figure out the physical and mental states of 16, 17, and 18-year-old kids. You are trying to judge them against competition you don't know.
See, it's stuff like this that I hear on the radio. It's just so disappointing to me because you're trying to say that the fans out there don't know how to look at recruiting, know what a recruit is.
Oh.
Don't know how to coach, don't know how to do all this. You're trying to say that the fans don't know how to do this sort of thing.
Our reality sucks sometimes, doesn't it? Doesn't reality hit you in the nads sometimes?
Don't you know that they can do their job better than the people who are actually in that position?
Yeah.
Don't you understand that?
For the record.
It's common knowledge. I mean, the voices are loud that say that, so it's got to be true.
For the record, me either. All right? I'm not saying I'm high and mighty and lofty above thee. I'm not. I don't either. Every time I watch, listen, I can watch a game film, and I can tell you how good a guy is at the mechanics of football. Sets his hips well, got a low center of gravity. The feet are active. The feet are still. He's too flat-backed. He's not flat-backed enough. Like, I can break down the mechanics of football, but if you show me game film and you go, this kid's from 2A Jackson High School in Jackson, Mississippi, man, unless you're real big into Class 2A football in the state of Mississippi, you don't know what competition he's up against. You don't know about the coaching both of him and against him, right? It's hard. That's why people who are great recruiters get paid lots of money, and that is why you and I pay them for their information.
But at the same time, when you're doing a Burns game and you're playing a team that's from another state and you see some guy stand out, you can look and go, yeah, that guy's probably going to be pretty good.
Right, which is why I can absolutely say, if you want to talk about high school recruits who play for or against the Burns Rebels, I can probably give you some insight, right?
By the way, you can hear the Burns Rebels exclusively right here on the Fan Upstate.
Oh, we're just a couple of weeks away, baby.
We are.
Cannot wait for Friday Night Lights, y'all. So, I'm not a big recruiting guy, but I also understand it's the lifeblood of football. You know when I get my first read on what a freshman's going to be able to do to contribute? When he shows up on campus and he puts on the helmet for the first time as a college football player, and we see him lined up against other D1, in this case, Power 5 college football players. That's when you know, all right? Unless all you do is recruiting, you don't know what you think you know. Now, here's what I do know. Clemson and South Carolina and Alabama and LSU and Florida State and Miami and Oklahoma and USC and Texas and Oregon and all these other schools, they got guys on the payroll that they pay real good money just to be excellent recruiters. That's what they do. They just recruit. And when they say, we want to target this guy, they're going to get it wrong a lot. They're going to, if they're good at their job, get it right a lot more. That's all well and good. It's fun to talk about, especially during the offseason. It gives us as fans something to dive into. I am personally much more interested in the side of recruiting that ain't about football. I'm more interested in the side of Cruton. That is, how do we get this kid to sign here? How do we get this guy who's being sought after by this, that, and the other? How do we get this guy to be in? How do we get this guy to be in? How do we get him to want to come here, to be a part of this, right? And that's where this stuff comes in. That's where the photo shoots come in. That's where the tours come in. That's where the rock star treatment comes into play. And I find it fascinating. And I especially find it fascinating. I said earlier in the show, how do you get somebody to say yes to you? You make them feel special. Anybody who has done sales at any point in their life, and I don't care what kind of sales it is. I don't care if you're selling cars. I don't care if you're selling radio advertising. I don't care if you're selling lemonade on the side of the road as a 10-year-old. The way that you get people to say yes and give you money is to make them feel special. If you're the kid in the lemonade stand, you make them feel special by what? Giving them the big doe eyes and letting those guys walk away and go, I helped a kid today. If you are selling a car, how do you make them feel special? By making that person feel like, I'm getting the best deal. I'm a master negotiator. Why do you think every time you buy a car, the price you pay is never what they're saying they're selling it for? Because you get to walk away not only with the car, but to go, I'm a master negotiator. I talked that guy down, bro. How about it? Right? It's to make them feel special. And the lights and the photo shoot and all that, that's what this is for. It is to take these kids, many of whom probably have never had an experience like this in their life.
I'm your huckleberry.
That's it. Never had an experience like this in their life. Kids who, up until this point, the most special they've ever felt might be getting told you get to speak at the pep rally this Friday. That's it, right? That's what you got. Maybe your AAU team got a gold medal and you got to stand on the podium for a minute. That's it. That's the extent. And then they show up to Clemson or to South Carolina or to LSU or to Alabama. And they've got a group of people there who are just focused on them, right? Just focused on them. And they got brought into this room and they turn the lights down. And then the neon lights around the room turn on and they're orange and purple or they're garnet and black and white. And they start flashing and sparks start flying up from a chair that they're going to sit in. And smoke machines start pumping fog around their legs. And they got the jersey on and they get handed the chain or they get handed the sledgehammer. Or they get handed whatever prop it is. And then they got 5 dudes and chicks with cameras. Click, 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 click. And then they get brought to another room to see the editing process. And these magicians with cameras and computers take those photos and turn them into the cover of their favorite hip-hop album. Or they turn them into the cover of a mock-up magazine listing them as the nation's greatest. Or they Photoshop them into a scene where it looks like they're holding up a national championship trophy or whatever it is. These kids, plenty of whom have probably never had the opportunity to feel like a celebrity, are treated like bona fide, certified superstars, right? And the guy I spoke to said, it is not about let's do this and let's turn it into this crazy experience. I mean, it is, that's the goal. But he made the point that you don't have an option anymore. You don't have a choice. Because if you don't, someone else will. Brian Kelly will do it in Baton Rouge. Nick Saban will do it. Like I said, I thought he made an excellent point. If I say Alabama football, I think the reaction for most of us, and there are programs like this, right? In the NFL, it's the Pittsburgh Steelers. I used to laugh. I did this on the air one time. Back when Big Ben was quarterbacking the Steelers, right? I'd talk to fans and I go, hey, tell me what you think about the Steelers. Oh, they're a run-first football team, right? Blue collar, stuff it down your throat. For about 2 seasons while Ben Roethlisberger was the quarterback there, Lonzo, Pittsburgh threw it almost 73% of the time. Almost 3 out of 4 plays were passes under Ben for like a 1.5 year period, right? Sometimes you got to go against the grain. Alabama's got this image of an old school deep south football program. We're going 4 yards in a cloud of dust. Yeehaw! That's right. We're going to run it right down your gullet, son. We're going to feed it to you like fried okra. We're just going to come at you over and over again. And just when you think we're going to let up, just when you think we're going to throw it, hell no. We're going to run it right back down your throats. Yeah! 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 Except for that's not how they're handling recruiting. Alabama's on the cutting edge of this stuff. And so to see Clemson out there, and not just to see Clemson doing this, not just to see Clemson handling their business this way, and not saying we're doing something special, going, this is the way you have to do it now. If you don't do this, you don't survive anymore. You don't, not just thrive, you don't survive anymore. You got to put a healthy amount of your budget annually into this, into props and lasers and pyro and smoke and cameras and editing software and computers and distribution. And if you don't do that, you're gonna get passed by. It's not an if, it's an inevitability. And the coach I talked to pointed out a handful of schools that do it better than anybody. And in different ways, by the way, right? And in different ways. At LSU, at Alabama, at South Carolina, and at Clemson. Those were the 4 he hit on. And listen, I'm sure there's Oregon. Oregon's up there. I know that. I've watched them do it. Phil Knight knows how to be cutting edge. Nike dies if he doesn't. I know Oregon's doing it that well. I am sure there are multiple other schools around the SEC doing it. But I will tell you this. Mark and I were having a discussion about this right outside of Studio A, where they take those photos on campus yesterday. And he said, dude, I was down in Gainesville last year. I visited the University of Florida last year. He said they're trying and they got nothing like this right now. They got nothing like this right now. That's where you have to be. And I think if you go, Georgia's doing it too. Georgia's another school. And I think if you go look up and down the list of schools that have not just are doing this, right? Because there's a difference, and I think we all know this. There is a difference, Lonzo, between doing something and buying into doing that thing, right? All of us at our jobs have stuff we got to do. You got to do this. I don't love it, but you got to do it. Lonzo's got to fill out paperwork. I don't think he wakes up in the morning like, hell yeah, somebody hand me that pen. Give me that Sharpie G5. Let's go, baby. That's something you got to do. And then there's stuff you buy into doing. I think Lonzo and I have both bought into how we do this show. Yeah. And that's why we got red sequin jackets and cowboy hats. Yeah. Yeah. Clemson has bought into this. South Carolina has bought into this. It is not just, oh, we got to do this. We got to do these photo shoots. We got to do these edits. We got to make the... They bought into it. They are celebrating it. They are pushing it. They are trying to figure out how do we get better. In fact, he told the coach I was talking to said, you want to know what the most interesting part about it is, Rob? And I said, what's that? And he goes, you can't just do it one time. Kids don't come for a visit. Kids come for 5 visits in a cycle. They're here 5 times. And we got to give them a different experience every time. And you can't just say, all right, on visit 1, it's photo shoot, and on visit 2, it's a video, and on visit 3, it's a whatever in the practice facility, and on visit 4, we're gonna let him, go out to lunch with Dabo. None of that, right? You've got to come up with a different experience that caters to every individual recruit every time the recruit shows up. He said, so we literally, I didn't say literally. I said, so you almost have to have like a black book for every recruit, right? You got to have a black book that goes, he likes dogs and he hates chili and he loves Lil Nas X and he hates getting up early, right? So that the next time that kid comes, you can go, all right, we're going to start our recruiting at 2 p.m. because he doesn't like to get up early. And when we set the playlist in the practice facility for his workout with whatever, we're gonna put the whole Lil Nas X category on there so he gets the music he likes. And he loves dogs. So why don't we bring in some puppies for his photo shoot, right? We'll have some puppies here, right? You got to cater to these kids. And he said, look, it's not just about going, all right, we got to do this because this is part of recruiting now. That ain't the game. Now it's about we got to do this and we have to celebrate doing it. We got to buy into doing it. And he pointed out the schools that are doing it. Bama, LSU, Georgia, Clemson, South Carolina. It's an arms race, man. It's an arms race. Who can be more creative? I'm going to tell you right now, do you know at this point, and I firmly believe this, if I was to list the most important people in a college football program, I would say your athletic director's at the top. I would say your head coach is next. You know who I honestly, truly believe might be the third most important person in any college football program right now? Your creative services director. Deadly serious. Your creative services director. The person who runs your social media handles. Right? I'll give you an example. Lonzo, over the past, 3-4 years, the Wendy's account on Twitter has popped up in my timeline hundreds of times. You know why? Because it's hilarious. It's genuinely comedically great. One of my favorite tweets ever was sent out by the Wendy's account. There was a dude who put Wendy's on notice and said, I just can't get behind a square hamburger. It's weird. And Wendy's retweeted him with the quote, unlike the natural round shape that it grows in on the vine. Am I right? And for whatever reason, at that moment, it was hilarious. Every year, Wendy's does a roast me campaign where they invite people to tweet Wendy's and they will roast you back. And it is savage, my dude. And Wendy's has increased their visibility in the entertainment sphere exponentially. Your college program or NFL team, whatever, having a world-class social media presence is big, but that's not all, right? Because it's not just visibility. When we had Drew Ingram from Furman in here a few weeks ago after Furman went to March Madness and knocked off Virginia, do you remember what he told us? He said that was huge, not just for the basketball team, but for the school. He said after that game was over, our website's traffic increased like 3,000%. Why? Because Furman had not had that type of visibility in years since Furman got that kind of visibility. And that was on national television. But social media is the same. And your creative services director either runs the Twitter or finds someone who knows how to do it and does, right? The New Orleans Saints have an incredible creative team. And I have watched since their creative team rolled over about 5-6 years ago, I have watched the Saints following on social media skyrocket. It works. But now you're taking those guys and those gals and you're moving them over to, you've got to take all that creative energy and put it towards these recruits and get these recruits want to come play here. Now, if lifeblood is truly if recruiting truly is the lifeblood of college ball, then giving these kids a reason to feel special and therefore want to play for you is the most important thing you can do. And while I think Dabo and Shane and Brian Kelly, family, and Nick Saban and Kirby Smart, while they're all smart dudes, you think any of them are known for their artistic creativity? Probably not, right? I mean, they might, some of them might paint or draw or whatever. But they're not known for their artistic creativity. So what do? You bring in a couple of people who do. That is what they do. That is how they live their life. You bring in creative types and you go, I want you to take this football player and I want you to do some creative stuff to make him feel like he's an American icon. I want you to give him a taste of what he will taste if he becomes a phenom here, so that he decides to come here and try to get that. He tries to chase the dragon, as the expression goes. Because if I show up and they put me in that wall and they put a chain on my shoulders and they gas me up like I've never been gassed up before, and I get gassed up to the point that as a non-Clemson guy, I'm taking pictures in front of the Tiger Wall, knowing good and bleeping well that my fiance is going to be friggin' furious when she sees that.
She should be.
She's going to be. She doesn't know this happened yet, dude. She doesn't know. When she sees that picture, she is going to get pissed at me.
I got to say,
furious.
I was not happy when I saw it.
I know.
Yeah. So, I mean, you can imagine. Yeah.
They gassed me up and they talked me into it. And I felt like $1 million. Me, I've been feeling like $1 million 15 years. I've been at Alabama, Florida State, Florida, Notre Dame, Miami, Mississippi State. I've been to all these schools. I've done stuff like this at all these schools in the past. That was the most electric I've ever felt. I'm a 38-year-old, fat, white, out of shape, local yokel radio talk show host. Right? All I can do is cover Clemson here in the upstate. And I walked in there and they made me feel like the freaking man. Now imagine what they do, Lonzo, if I could contribute to them winning a natty. If I could contribute to them winning another ACC tournament or title or whatever. You don't think they'd put even more into that? But they complimented the other schools. Bama, LSU, South Carolina, Georgia. All compliments to all. Said these are the folks that are setting the bar, and we've got to push past them if we want to continue to thrive. It's fascinating to me. All right, let's take a break. We're back after this. The Rob Brown Show rolls on. This is the Fan Upstate. I will say South Carolina's creative team is unbelievably talented. And I'll tell you, listen, Shane and the creative team have won me over a bunch of times, but when they recreated that scene from The Office running in front of the radar tester and just directly lifted a scene from The Office, I lost my mind. Lonzo and I watched it in the Fortress of Nerditude that day, and I had to pause it multiple times because I was falling out laughing.
For the ones who work hard to ensure their crew can always go the extra mile, and the ones who get in early.
All right, I'm going to go grab a water, guys. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. I'll be back in 45 seconds.
The 4th annual Bourbon and Bacon Fest is back Friday, September 22nd at the Foundry at Judson Mill in downtown Greenville. Show your taste buds the time of their lives with over 100 delicious bourbons and bacon-themed bites from your favorite upstate restaurants. Bourbon and Bacon Fest benefits Upstate Carolina Adaptive Golf by VIP, GA, and designated driver tickets by texting the word bacon to 7341. Text data rates may apply.
Sponsored by Compassion International.
We've all felt the impact of rising food prices. For families in poverty, they're facing malnutrition and even death. You can feed a family for a month with your $50 donation to Compassion International. Just text the word radio to 97646.
Unique and unlike any other sports talk show, it's BetMGM Tonight, Monday through Friday from 7 to 11, only on The Fan.
Upstate.
BetMGM Tonight is the red zone for casual and hardcore sports fans. Live sports betting updates for all of the night's games. As
2.5 pennies. How do you get a half a penny of practice? Or do they just pay you 5 cents every other day?
It's like that 0.9 or 0.8 thing on the gas prices. After a while, it builds up a little bit, I'm guessing.
Apparently, a couple of people don't like me calling it Cruton.
It's because you're making fun of the locals with the accent.
For the record,
because you can't say Cruton without it sound like Cruton.
I've been calling it Cruton since I was down in Florida. All right, it's recruiting. It's just recruiting. Always has been.
I'm sorry, Mr. Brown. It's recruiting. It's not recruiting.
Let's talk about the recruiting. It's just recruiting.
That was his real voice right there. That's what he sounds like when he's not.
You guys should hear it in the Fortress of Nerditude. We get off the air.
That was his real voice.
I'm like, Lonzo, have we done the post-action reports on the show today yet? I need that succinctly and promptly, please.
It was pretty difficult for me to get used to at first. I gotta admit.
All right, we'll move on from the Cruton just a little bit and get into some other stuff. On the Rob Brown Show here on the Fan Upstate, we now know, ladies and gentlemen, that the Carolina Panthers have finally made a contract offer to Brian Burns. Yeah! Brian Burns entering the final year of his contract, playing under his 5th-year option. He'll earn $16 million. And, of course, as I have mentioned, and as the Cats have mentioned multiple times, they want Brian Burns to keep doing Brian Burns things for Carolina.
Hey, will you get to see Brian Burns next Saturday?
Turns out I will.
Not this Saturday, but next Saturday.
Turns out I will. Turns out we will because
that is next Saturday. It's not this Saturday.
Correct. It is the 29th.
Okay, all right.
Saturday the 29th, we will be live at Carolina Panther training camp. We will be on the air from 9 to 11. Myself, Mark Ryan. I'm getting Zoe and Diesel there as well. We're bringing the whole party out, y'all. We will be live from training camp where we will obviously broadcast in the AM. We will have some Panthers joining us on the radio broadcast, or at least we're efforting that right now. And very much looking forward to that. I will also tell you, Zoe, that you're going to be hard pressed to keep me from going to a handful of practices throughout the couple of weeks that they are live on the campus at Wofford.
Like, say, the ones when the Jets show up, possibly?
You mean I get to see Aaron Rodgers in person?
Yeah, that guy.
We get a press conference. I get to ask him the correct way to microdose mushrooms, right?
Well, you don't want to do it.
The listeners asked.
You don't want to do it wrong.
The listeners asked.
Although some people apparently know how, but there's that.
Well, I mean,
we're taking it on their word. They could be wrong. They could be,
doing it wrong is a state of
You could say
they might feel they're doing it very correct.
Hey, Aaron, a listener said this is how you do this with mushrooms. Is this correct?
We will be broadcasting live on the 29th, and Brian Burns is one of the players that we will see. We have found out that the constant and ongoing discussions between Brian Burns and his agent Todd France and the Carolina Panthers have been working towards a multi-year deal. Now, we don't know what it looks like yet. According to Darren Gant of Panthers.com, quote, not a lot to update, but that might not be the case for long. The Panthers have made an offer, but the entire market at the position seems to be on hold since there are a couple of big deals on the horizon, end quote. The last time we heard from Brian Burns was prior to the month-and-a-half-long break. He made it clear that he wants to remain with the organization that drafted him back in 2019. He said, quote, I don't have a preference really of when it needs to be done. I'm just blessed to really be even in that talk and the opportunity to have that. Right now, I'm just enjoying the process and everything that comes with it. I know I want to be a Panther. That's all I can tell you. I can't preach this anymore. Like, I'm truly blessed to be in this position. It's a dream come true to just have these kinds of talks, end quote. Brian Burns has, in 4 seasons with the Panthers, racked up 196 tackles, 77 quarterback hits, 43 tackles for a loss, 38 sacks, 11 pass breakups, and 7 forced fumble so far. So it's pretty good spot to be in. Look, I don't want to read too much into it. The Panthers made the contract offer. It wasn't immediately accepted by Brian Burns, but why not, right? Why not? We know that this is the edge position. Which, by the way, have you noticed, though, that there's no more – I mean, there are defensive ends and there are outside linebackers, but have you noticed that edge has become its own position at this point? Just a bona fide edge rusher. It's just its own position now. You can be an edge rusher and play defensive end. You can be an edge rusher and play outside linebacker, but if you were a pure edge rusher, you're just considered edge now. You can move up, and I think you kind of have to, and I think you will have to this year. With Carolina moving to a 3-4. Defensive ends are going to be asked to stand up, take 3 steps back, and play an outside backer. Outside backers are going to be asked to take 3 steps forward, put their hand down on the ground, and be an outside a 7 technique defensive end, right? And Brian Burns is one of the best in the game at doing just that right now, which is why he has not got a contract. I think part of it is waiting to see what some of the other names out there are going to look like. Now, we have got some guys that have been signed. There are others that have not. We're still waiting to see where Jadeveon Clowney is going to play his football. Charles Omenihu is out there and available. Arden Key is out there and available. Yannick Ngakoue is out there and available. That dude has had some wild success, right? He's a dude whose numbers are not there in terms of tackles for a loss, sacks, etc. But that's because Ngakoue is a guy who demands double teams. When he lines up on that side, you go ahead and commit your running back to wherever Yannick Ngakoue is lined up at. So I think to some degree, you're kind of waiting for the market to settle a little bit, especially if you're looking for a multi-year deal, right? If you're a guy like Brian Burns and you are looking for a multi-year deal, you want to see what the numbers look like now for individual years. Because you might take a little bit less per season to go ahead and lock in for 4 or 5 more seasons, but you want to see what that money comes down. So to the Panthers fans that are freaking out a little bit, he didn't accept the initial offer. Did we try to lowball him? Are we going to upset him? It does not appear that way. To me, it just appears that Carolina made an offer. You try to set the market, right? You try to set the market. Because if Brian Burns signs his contract, every other team is going to play off of that. But you also don't want to create a situation where you undervalue him too much, because while Brian Burns wants to be a Panther, if 2 years, 3 years down the road, he's the 10th or 11th best paid edge rusher in the NFL, he might go, I want to renegotiate again. I want a new deal. And now you got to pay more down the line. So there's a lot of moving parts to this. I'm just going to say, don't panic. Just because he did not accept the deal out the gate does not mean it's time to panic. This guy, I firmly believe. Listen, a lot of times when players say, I want to be a blankety blank for the rest of my career. It's like, do you? We heard Aaron Rodgers say he wanted to be a Packer the rest of his career many times. Turns out he didn't. Granted, it's for good reasons. I, for one, fully endorse Aaron Rodgers leaving Green Bay. Let me try that again. Green Bay didn't screw Aaron. Aaron screwed Aaron. Incorrect. Green Bay screwed Aaron. Green Bay did not go all in on a guy who is still winning NFC MVP awards. I got his back. I think it's a good move. I think he played it correctly. I am always in favor of a player leaving to get the bag if the bag is available. Speaking of, I want to dive into this running backs discussion. Did you see there was a tweet storm from the entire NFL running back community yesterday?
About to be a strike.
Yeah. Yeah, we might be playing this NFL season sans running backs based on what happened yesterday. We'll get into that in the next hour of the show. I am always for a player getting a bag, especially at positions that don't last forever. I am for Brian Burns getting the bag. Brian Burns deserves the bag. Of the guys playing defense in Charlotte right now, Brian Burns is the number one. He's the best on the team on the defensive side of the football, maybe overall. I'm for him getting the bag. So if you're Carolina, you want to make sure that you value him correctly. You give him a contract that saves you money in the long term, but keeps him in the fold for the long term. Don't panic about him not yet accepting a contract offer 2 days after it was offered. He wants to see some of these other free agents come off the board, and they will be very soon. Training camp for
How late is
NFL
too
team
late,
starts
though?
this week.
How late is too late?
Probably 2 weeks into training camp, right? First week of training camp is, for most teams, it's installation, it's conditioning, it's getting everybody caught up to speed, it's getting everybody on the same page.
Yeah, but it means more this year with the new defensive coordinator. So getting people in as early as possible would be best.
It does if you're Carolina, but keep in mind, Carolina is waiting on free agent deals for everybody else to get signed. They want to see where Yannick Ngakoue lands. Unless they just get to the point where it's like, okay, maybe we can get him for a steal just because he's ready to be on a roster. But realistically, they're waiting to see where those guys land and what amount of money they land with so that they can then establish a value for one of the top 5 edge rushers in the NFL and Brian Burns. I think that's what this comes down to. So, like I said, don't panic. He hasn't accepted yet. It's not a shock to me or at all. Let's take a break. When we come back here in just a moment from right now, we got to get a little baseball in here. The Braves put 13 up yesterday and lost with 3 errors committed in the 9th inning that cost them the lead. Yikes. We got to get into that. Might get a little golf in here later on the show. And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, we are just 2 days away from the beginning of the Women's World Cup. You know, we got to get a little USWNT preview going. We're going to be getting into all of it on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate. Green Bay GM Vince McMahon.
With the mustache.
Green Bay didn't screw Aaron. Aaron screwed Aaron. All right, guys, give me 30 seconds. Bear back.
Tuesday night, August 15th. Supply with special guest Rome.
Dude, totally going to a Sublime show, man. Kind of excited about that.
That was a lot of mayonnaise.
cruising toward his new ride with AutoSave. And Joe sees Chase Banker is helping him budget to go back to school. Tools that help protect. Support for what's next.
That's food for
One
here
bank
or
that puts
somewhere
you in
else?
control. Visit chase.com/checking. Chase,
Geez,
make more of what's yours.
Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Messaging and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank and a member FDIC.
For the ones who work hard to ensure their crew can always go the extra mile, and the ones who get in early so everyone can go home on time, there's Granger, offering professional-grade supplies backed by product experts so you can quickly and easily find what you need. Plus, you can count on
Start with the PDA. I don't know why I'm looking, but, you know, it's an awesome hug. Let it go. Let it go. Stop. They're still hugging now.
It can feel like trying to find a needle in a haystack. You can hope the right person comes along, or you can just use ZipRecruiter.
All right.
Like Marco.
Finally, he embraces nearly over.
ZipRecruiter helps me find all the right people, even the most difficult jobs to fill.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day.
Scott Parkinson, one of them was crying now, so
ZipRecruiter.com/free.
it might have been a long goodbye.
ZipRecruiter.com/FREE.
Right now at Wendy's, when you buy either Dave's single spicy chicken sandwich, medium frosty, or 10-piece nuggets, you can get another for just $1. Your dollar never tasted so good. So it's obvious what everyone will get, right?
Definitely nuts
Spicy
and a
chicken
frosty.
sandwich,
Dave's single and a frosty for
Frosty
me.
and a frosty. Okay, who said frosty and a frosty? Pick your obvious choice. Choose wisely. Choose Wendy's, buy one, get one for $1.
Limited time only. Price and participation may vary. U.S. Wendy's salad variety with equal or lesser value cannot be combined in a combo or any other offer.
From the Ingalls Market Studio, the Fan.
Upstate. 97.7 FM Greenville. 97.1 FM Spartanburg.
Always live from the Free Odyssey app.
CBS Sports Radio.
More than the scores. Real sports talk for real sports.
The Rob Brown Show rolls on. It is the Fan Upstate. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Rob Alonzo with you. Brent Venables versus Deion Sanders, fully engaged at this point. They are getting after it. Brent Venables took over the Oklahoma Boomer Sooners, left Clemson as their defensive coordinator to take that role after Lincoln Riley departed Oklahoma and took Heisman Trophy winning quarterback Caleb Williams with him out to the West Coast. Venables hired in December of 2021, inherited a roster that, with Caleb Williams, went 11-2 the year before. Brent Venables has, is it fair to say it's not gone smoothly at Oklahoma?
It's ugly, Rob. It's ugly.
It's not great. Well, Brent Venables, and I think fairly, has latched on to the, hey, you got to give me time to turn over the roster, right? And up until Deion Sanders, I think the majority of us, I could be wrong, feel free to text me 71307 if I am, but the majority of us have been willing to fall into the belief that we're going to give a coach 2 years and the third is a prove it year. That's when his guys get in there. That's when his recruits take over. That's when they have had time to fill out the majority of the roster. Guys he recruited to play in his system, and he is leaning on that, and we know he's leaning on that.
What was this team bad before Venables got there?
No, they were 11-2.
Okay, so why do you need time to turn over a roster that was winning?
Well, here's why, Lonzo. If I ask you to go over and run the planet, right? If I ask you to go over there and run the planet, it's a different style of radio. Not that you wouldn't do it, you would, but just like with everybody else.
Who are we talking about here? Come on.
Adaptability to a different system is key, but it takes time, right?
I would say we're all under the same umbrella, so I should be able to I know what that's like.
I would not. That's like saying, well, Oklahoma plays football, you should just be good. No, they had a different system, right? You and I are putting together Red Sequin Jacket caliber radio, but if they came to us tomorrow and said, Rob and Lonzo, you guys talk politics now, you and I would have a while in a smoothing out process.
Oh, no, it would be before it
Right,
burns.
exactly,
No.
exactly.
Before it burns out, because it definitely would catch on fire and
Exactly.
and burn, because we're on the opposite sides of things. It would become anger. We would no longer be friends, but it would be good radio. So I don't think that's a good example either.
I'm not saying it wouldn't succeed. I'm saying it would take a smoothing out process, right? And that to me is what the first couple of years are.
All right,
You gotta
so
keep in mind-
here's the thing. I disagree with you. Obviously, I disagree with you, because all the examples you've given, could I go over and run that place? Yes. Could we do a good political show? We would do a killer political show. All your examples.
No.
Brent Venables was the defensive coordinator when he went to this school that was already winning. Why does he need to change things?
You're not understanding my point. I'm not disagreeing. You're right. Any format you and I do, we're going to take it over. I don't disagree. I'm saying out of the gate, if we flip formats, out of the gate, there would be a smoothing out. Well, you and I would not hit the ground running and just take over the world tomorrow if they gave us a switch today. It would take some time to iron out the kinks.
I guess I have more confidence than you do in that, because I actually have an experience, and so do you, in that background. So we definitely could do that. It's just not a good example.
Again, I'm not saying we couldn't. I'm saying
we are fighting
we
now
would not cut
because I believe in us and Rob doesn't.
I'm saying it would take some time to iron out the kinks. Now, that to me is this. It is, if you go from Lincoln Riley's offense, which is predicated on timing and speed on the outside, to what we've seen out of Brent Venables, which is going to be a much more cutthroat physical offense. If you recruit a bunch of guys who are small and fast to get down the field, and then you ask them to play hard-nosed football, it's going to take time to get the roster in there. And as Joey B pointed out a second ago, you also got to keep in mind, while we mentioned Caleb Williams was not the only player who left OU to go with Lincoln Riley out to USC. A handful of the top-notch players did. So Brent Venables was asked about that, and he talked about it, and he said, as far as not taking the Deion approach, cutting all the guys that don't fit your system and bringing in new dudes, he said, quote, I gave guys 12 months of grace. I was unlike Deion. I gave guys 12 months of grace to figure it out. Here's the 3. Go to class, live right off the field, and when you show up over here, you show up with respect and appreciation for your opportunity. And if you go 0 for 3 for 12 months, you need a fresh start. So we helped 21 guys, give or take, find a fresh start. Whereas there's Deion Sanders. 50 players have left the team since his arrival in December. If you include guys who entered the transfer portal since August, you are looking at 70-plus players who were on the roster last year and are not this year. And Deion has taken a lot of heat, right? A lot of heat. We have seen Pat Narduzzi come out and speak out against him. Now Brent Venables is in the mix. And Deion has fired back at Brent Venables at this point. He said, I love it. First off, he said,
call me coach.
You call me coach.
Absolutely.
Now, this is a weird spot to me, because I'm not big on calling a guy coach if they ain't my coach, right? I don't play for you, right? In fact, I noticed that yesterday, because at the media day, there were 2 ways that people addressed Dabo Swinney, coach or Dabo. And almost to a T, you could guess the colors that the person saying the question to Dabo was wearing, but based on how they addressed them. If it was somebody who was writing for a Clemson blog or a Clemson radio program, whatever, it was coach.
Why didn't you call him Billy or Willie or something like that?
Hey, Christopher.
Yeah, there we go.
No, listen.
How about Billy Chris?
Listen,
hey, Billy Chris.
The guy wants to go as Dabo. I'm going to call him Dabo. No problem. No issue with that. I'm not going to call him coach because he doesn't coach me. When we interviewed Garrett Riley, he was Garrett. He's on equal footing with me. He's not my coach. So I don't get down. But at the same time, if somebody goes, call me doctor. All right, doc, that's a degree, right? You are my doctor.
What Deion did was take the respect back.
That's exactly correct.
Which is the way to dominate when you start a conversation.
That's exactly correct. I am going to say that Deion Sanders did this out of listen, I'm your peer. I'm not some guy you're going to talk down to. You are a coach. I am a coach, right? Here's what he said. He said, quote, first off, to the gentleman from Oklahoma, it's coach to you. There's a saying about glass houses. We had roster turnover the way we did because we had to. If coach wants to talk, let's talk. Here's my favorite part, Lonzo. I wasn't the one handed a Ferrari. He already had multiple NFL linemen on the Oklahoma roster before arriving. Colorado didn't have a 1,000-yard rusher from the previous coaching staff. Oklahoma is one of the best programs in the sport. When was the last time they lost more than 2 games? The Ferrari crashed and it's smoking, end quote. There's like 4 different parts about that quote that I absolutely love. Absolutely love, all right? I love him hitting it with, it's coach to you. The only thing I'd love more if he would have gone, hey, Brent, why don't you mind your own business, bud? Why don't you worry about your house, Brent, and I'll worry about mine.
But instead, he went.
You call me coach. And then immediately called him coach, right? Immediately. And the next sentence was like, if coach wants to talk, we'll talk. Now, whatever. That's all semantics. That's all fine. Whatever. Here's what I'll say. I still get rubbed wrong by what happened to Colorado.
Right? Who do you have more confidence in turning the program around? Well, in this case, Brent Venables is going the opposite direction. He's taking.
He turned the program around.
Yeah. So I mean, Dion has more work in to do.
Correct.
But I have more confidence in him than I do in Venables because he took something that was good and made it not good anymore.
I don't have faith in either one of them. I really don't. Now, I'll say this. I met Brent Venables twice. Super nice guy. Enjoyed my conversation. Kind of gruff, kind of a defensive coordinator, right? But pleasant. Y'all.
There's a key right there. Defensive coordinator.
I am a Braves fan and a child of the 90s. Deion Sanders was my favorite athlete, not Ken Griffey Jr. for a very long time, right? I love Deion. Always did. Doesn't mean I think he's going to be a great coach. I think Deion is an excellent recruiter. I think Deion's a guy who understands what kids need and want to hear to get them to be a part of his program. Here's the problem. Deion was able to just out-recruit everybody at the HBCU. He's not going to be able to just out-recruit everybody at Colorado and then just out-talent them. He's going to have to X's and O's. And I don't know if he can. I'm not saying he can't. I'm just saying I haven't seen any reason to believe that he can. Venables, on the other hand, as he said, took over a Ferrari and turned in a real slow lap in his first couple of goes. So we'll see. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate. Can't believe Oklahoma going from an offensive-minded coach to a strictly defensive coach didn't pay off. I mean, look, the question is, and keep in mind, SEC next year, can Venables build a Venables defense at Oklahoma? A school that since the early 2000s has been an offensively minded school. It's not just about changing the system. It's about changing the paradigm of the school as a whole.
He might be able to build a defense, but at the cost of losing the offense,
Yep.
Look, the defense is really good, but, the offense can't score a touchdown.
They are the fabric of the community, literally. And Smith & James thrives because they succeed at their mission to make you look your best. Believe me, if they can make me look good, they can do it for anybody. I'm the before picture. Visit Smith & James at 222 Trade Street in Greer or at their new location on Verde Boulevard in Greenville. Visit them online at smithandjames.com. Chief of Police, join us at the free
My wife has pointed out it's really hot outside. You sure you want to wear a duster? It's like, I'll put it up.
Sacrifices must be made.
I'm not going to wear it the whole way there. I mean, I'll put it on once I get in the building. It's a decent walkway between the parking garage and the award ceremony.
So we are, Courtney and I are talking about, because I've only ever been to Columbia for either this award ceremony once or football games. I've never actually just been to Columbia. And so we're talking about maybe going over Friday night, getting a hotel room downtown and just staying in Columbia for a couple of days to kind of tour it and see it. And there's a hotel like one block over. It's got rooms for like $120 a night or something. It looks like an okay hotel. So I think we're going to go over Friday after the show and spend Friday, Saturday, and Sunday afternoon and then come back.
Oh, that's cool. Anybody know where I can get a toy badge? I haven't been able to find any in stores.
I really want you to go to like one of the sheriff's departments in town and get one of those like
I want one of those. Absolutely, I do. That would add to it.
No disrespect meant, but I'm on 0 meds. If Rob talked politics, I'd be on like 100 different meds. I am, big fella. August 12th, the weekend of August 12th.
When he says I, he means we.
We.
But me being there is not unusual. So, I mean, you know.
I will be coming. I will be coming over on Friday the 11th, staying the night downtown Friday the 11th. Saturday the 12th, we have the.
Why do I feel like Goose from Top Gun? Yeah. Anyway, go ahead.
We have the awards banquet on Saturday evening. And then the fiance and I will probably be staying in Columbia Saturday night. Well, we will definitely be staying in Columbia Saturday night when it's over, hanging out. We'll probably do a little brunch and tour de force on Sunday before we head back on Sunday evening to come back to work. So
I don't know, man. I'm gonna be dressed up as a cowboy. I don't know if I want to go out on the town too much, like I ever would anyway.
There's got to be. I just want Lonzo.
You don't understand how incredibly boring I am.
Texas Roadhouse dressed that way. Feels like home, boys. This is where I belong. Bring me the cowboy steak.
Oh, if I go in somewhere, I'm going full on Southern to cowboy. I'm not. The accent will be there the entire time. I'm seriously considering not using my voice that I'm using right now the entire evening Saturday. If I can go as a mime and not say a single word for an entire night, I can go cowboy speak all night. Excuse me, son, could I have a glass of water? I don't think we'll be the only cowboys there. All those a bunch of closet cowboys going to show up with, yeah. But I'm doing it as a.
The third, the fight of the best, the money hour. The Rob Brown Show goes now, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. This is the Fan Upstate. I am Rob Brown. He is the Sultan of Swag, the Professor of Perfection, the Wizard of Wave, the Great One Lonzo, and we are collectively very excited.
Yeah, you know what we're very excited about? Giving away some AEW tickets. We're excited about that.
You mean Saturday, August 5th, AEW Collision live at the Bon Secours Wellness Arena? You mean we have 2 tickets to give away to that sometime this hour in the show?
We do. And I'll give you a hint. It will be when we go to a break. Could be this first break, could be the second break, could be the last break. But you should pay attention, especially those who said, I tried to get through and I didn't. Well, here's your chance.
You know what else is your chance? Tomorrow and Friday.
And maybe next
week too.
Maybe next week. Maybe.
We'll see. We'll see how you guys like it. AEW Collision Saturday, August 5th at the Bon Secours Wellness Arena. Samoa Joe will be there.
Rob Brown's going to be there.
Tag team will be there.
If you want to go hang out with Rob Brown, I mean, you know.
I mean, I'm going to tell you straight up, your tickets won't be with me. All right. Now, it's not that I don't want them to be or whatever. It's just that me, Jack, and Joey B spent way too much on wrestling tickets to sit by the ring.
Rob will go frequently to the concession stand or the restroom. So there's your chance right there. So you will get your chance. If you say, "Hey, Rob," he will stop and talk to you because that's what he does.
That is correct. Come find. We'll be there before the show. We'll be in the doors the second they open, without a doubt.
Or sometimes like an hour to 2 hours before the doors open.
The question is, Zoe, do I break the MJF back out? Or do I go somewhere else?
No, because he's a baby face right now, and that would go against your persona.
Better than you, baby.
Yeah, only if Joe will show up as Adam Cole. I don't know how he can pull that off, but maybe he could.
Let me tell you how excited I am about AEW Collision being in town. I will always go to local indie shows. I've said this before. If there are any of y'all that are affiliated with local indie shows, get me and Lonzo involved, all right? We'll be managers, we'll be valets, we'll be heels. I'll be a fake security guard who takes a bump. I don't care. Just let us be involved. I will always go to a live wrestling show before I watch one. Saturday, August 5th is AEW Collision live at the Well in Greenville. You know what else is Saturday, August 5th? SummerSlam. It's the same night. And I will be DVRing that. That's not a shot at SummerSlam because I think that card's going to be ridiculous. I will be at Collision that night and DVRing SummerSlam to watch back that night. All right, Joey B, book it. It's done, baby.
I like this message. You could go to the bathroom and wind up getting a front row seat to Wardlow Beatdown, which I did. And they wondered what happened to me. Well, they roped it off. I couldn't get back, so I'm just sitting there eating popcorn watching Wardlow beat up security guards. It was great.
So coming up at some point, either the end of this segment or the next segment or the last segment, we got a pair of tickets to AEW Collision Saturday, August 5th. We're going to give away right here on the radio broadcast. All right, let's get to some more stuff here on the show today. This is really interesting to me. Sports are our escape from real life, from reality. But as I've mentioned on the show many times again, it might as well be the tagline of this show. They are not existing in a vacuum. Sports is not a vacuum that real life doesn't impact, and sports is not a vacuum that doesn't impact real life. There is a small portion of the Venn diagram that overlaps. How many times have you heard me said that? If you've listened to the show more than, 10 minutes, a lot. The Hollywood writers' strike is taking place right now. Both the writers and the actors are currently striking right now. There are two different organizations, one that represents the writers, one the actors. They have gone into a joint strike together, and we found out that negotiations to end the WGA strike will not start back up until the fall, which means that your favorite television shows, if they are written by actors who are members of the Writers Guild of America, will not be in production. In fact, Game of Thrones House of the Dragon Season 2 has stopped production because of this strike.
By the way, really quick, a good portion of the reason why both entities are on strike is because of artificial intelligence.
And it's fair, right?
Oh, it's very fair, yes.
Because the studios, and for the record, this is just for Roger, I am squarely team union on this one, all right? For a bunch of different reasons. For instance, one of the things that was being proposed by the studio was they wanted to hire extras, as you do in any movie. They wanted to hire extras, but instead of putting in the movie, they wanted to effectively screen capture them and then just digitally preserve them to drop into any movie they needed extras for. You know what they were going to pay you for a lifetime of using you as an extra in movies? $200.
And you know what the worst part about that? How many actors started out as that background
100%.
actor? So those people would never get their break and be the stars of the future because of them wanting to do this. And the same thing with AI as far as the writing goes. They're wanting to make sure that they can't do rewrites with AI and not pay the writers themselves.
Correct. Now, we don't have to go into all that. That's another story for the Saturday Night Pulse, the Upstate Pulse, every Saturday from 7 on WRD.
Wow. You know that show.
I got there.
You forgot the name. It's okay. It's all right. We're just a little itty bitty show that's been around 8.5 years, but
I haven't even been around that long. So, it's interesting because a lot of shows, sitcoms, soap operas, these are all written by writers who are members of the Writers Guild who are all going on strike at that point. And that is going to open the door for sports, for live sports. Because if all you have is reruns and syndication, and that's the only thing you can put on, do you know what is a consistent performer that every time that now this strike is set to be historic, right? This strike is set to be a strike that we're talking about years down the road. This strike is going to be the television version of the mid-90s lockout of Major League Baseball. That was 35 years ago. We're still talking about it, right? It opens the door for live sports because when television hits a lull, as it's going to do until at least the fall, live sports continue to produce numbers. Because, hey, if you tune in and for whatever weird reason you're a fan of The Big Bang Theory, I don't understand why anybody would be, and they're running another set of reruns, and there's nothing else on, a percentage of those people are going to click on over to sports, to football games, to basketball games, to baseball games, whatever. Now, this is really interesting because that means television, networks, stations, whatever, they're going to start leaning on sports. Well, there is one massive trigger hanging out there right now to the next round of college football conference expansion. Do you remember what that trigger is? I have told you multiple times. That trigger is media rights deals for the Pac-12 and the Atlantic Coast Conference. I'm not saying that the writer's strike is going to pull the trigger on those media rights deals. What I'm saying is it looks like there's the possibility. The Pac-12 has already said they will not be announcing, even if they were to get one during its time this week, a new television deal at the Pac-12 Media Days, which are currently taking place. And that makes sense because they're negotiating and nobody wants to come to the forefront in the midst of negotiations, whether they're going good or poorly, right? But if you're a television network and you're watching this deal, and let's say theoretically, because I feel this way, that you're looking at, first off, no new negotiations with the WGA until the fall, right? Now, I don't know specifically when the date is, but the fall, yeah? And you can't put new shows on television until the fall. And by the way, some of the chasms in the negotiations are very wide. Just because you go back to negotiating does not mean that you are going to come to an agreement, which means it could be the winter. It could be spring of next year before this entertainment strike comes to its conclusion. And guess who this impacts? Fox, Disney, ABC, the networks, right? And so if you're a network and you know that some of your prime time television is it cannot come back until the late fall at the best. And realistically, in my opinion, you're looking at probably late winter, maybe early spring before you get it back. You got to fill that time. What is the one guaranteed performer not under the umbrella of the WGA that you can lean on to fill that time and fill it well? Live sports. Live sports. Because if there's nothing else on, people will tune in to watch mediocre football. If that's what's on, they'll do it. So if you're the Pac-12 right now, are you not on the phone with Fox, with ABC, with whoever, going, hey, look, we need a new deal. And we need a new deal sooner rather than later. So why don't we get it done so that when fall rolls around if these negotiations push into the winter, push into the spring of next year, you've got Pac-12 football ready at your fingertips. You can pull the trigger anytime you want and put a game on TV. You have the rights to live games. You have the rights to recorded games, right? Because a lot of Pac-12 games on the East Coast, they don't start until like 10:30 at night, which, don't get me wrong, Rob Brown, the Night Owl, big fan. I love college football Saturdays when the fiance goes to bed at 9 p.m. and I'm still an hour away from the last kickoff. Me and my bottle of bourbon are going to be very comfortable on the couch together sharing this evening. Now you can lock those up for the people who are not staying up till 10:30 to watch football. When there is a top 5 USC team involved, when there is a UCLA team that may or may not be good this year, but is jumping to the Big Ten next year and might have an impact and a say in that conference moving forward, you telling me people aren't interested? Oregon State. I don't know about y'all. I know most of you are going to tell me you don't. Are you not a little intrigued to see what DJ Uiagalelei does up at Oregon State? See what he does as a Beaver? I am.
No, they're not. They don't want him to do well.
Oh, I know they don't.
They don't want him to do well.
But if he goes out there and he does, that's dramatic. That's interesting to me. So I'm not saying this is going to lead to anything. I'm saying it could. At a point in time where the next big trigger for conference expansion is media rights deals for the ACC and for the Pac-12. For television to be under the biggest threat that they have been under, Lonzo, I'm not trying to be dramatic, maybe ever. Maybe ever. We've had strikes before.
I was going to say there was a strike, I don't know, was it in the 90s, I think? Mid-90s? That affected a lot of shows that I was watching, and you could see where it just kind of went downhill. Where they
strike was one of the two unions.
Yeah.
You have both of them striking now, right? Because some cases, and again, I'm not a TV expert, but in some cases there are some shows that you could bring in scab writers and you could lean on the actors to kind of give some input in the direction. The actors aren't there now either.
Or they could use artificial intelligence, which is, again, the whole reason why this.
A big part of it.
Yeah.
A big part of it. See, the problem is this. AI being a threat. AI is getting impressive in its ability to read the internet, build something using a human programmed algorithm, and put together something interesting.
It's a very good mimic, for sure.
Sure. It's not perfect. It's going to be a long time if it ever gets perfect.
You and I just yesterday or 2 days ago listened to an AI plankton singing war pigs.
And it was really like almost believable, right? So you used to be able to lean on that. Here's one thing the TV guys know. They cannot just dive headfirst into AI while the writers are on strike, because then a lot of the writers are going to go, bleep this, I'm out. Screw this, I'm not coming back, right? And AI is not to the point, I don't think, where they can lean on it to create and write full television episodes. It can do some work, but I don't think it's there yet, at least from what I'm reading right now.
Well, the entire intro for Secret Invasion was done by AI.
Sure.
So, I mean,
again, it can create, but it's far from perfect. And it's certainly the one thing, and this is the interesting thing about AI. You know what the one thing AI can't do is?
it can't go out on the football field. I know that. At least not yet.
You know what the two things AI can't? You know what AI can't do that separates it from a writer? AI can't feel. It can be told what an emotion is. We can describe it, but it can't feel. And the best television, whether it's sports or wrestling or sitcoms or romance movies or rom-coms or whatever, the best art, the best television is what? It's stuff that makes you feel. The best wrestling stories are wrestling stories that make you feel. The best rom-coms are rom-coms that you connect with the character in it and you identify and you feel. How I Met Your Mother was successful because we've all had a period where we're Ted. The lucky ones have had a period where we're Marshall. The really lucky ones have had a period in their life when they're Barney, right? You connect, you feel something. AI can't feel. That's why I'm not super worried about it yet. Now, blah, blah, blah. We can put that aside because that's not the point. The point here is Television's under threat under the most important period of history since the invention of the television. I'm dead serious about that. Sports has an opportunity to grow. Watch ESPN's ratings pump up if sitcoms shut down. Watch live games ratings in the fall skyrocket if there's no new primetime television for ABC, CBS, Fox, NBC, whatever to put on. Watch it.
This will also help wrestling. Wrestling is already booming with the competition between the AEW and WWE. It's going to help that too. And it could also help radio.
It absolutely could, because we're not in the WGA. We'll keep working, right?
Yeah, you've heard the show. There's no writers here.
No, there's clearly. Listen to me. So the opportunity is here for the Pac-12 and the ACC to try a power move, right? I'm not saying it'll work. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But you try the power move. You try to get yourself a fat new contract by saying, we will carry you through the lean times, right? You pay us a little more than you've been paying us, and we will make sure that our best stuff finds its way to you. We will carry you through the lean times in return for you hooking us up with a better media rights deal. And then conference expansion is back on the menu, boys. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm saying this is potentially a heavy finger on the trigger of the next round. We will find out. Let's take a break. When we come back, got a couple more things I want to get to on the radio broadcast today. A couple of interesting comments out of the world of golf as we get set for the Open. We'll talk about that. We got some Braves ball we need to get into on the radio broadcast. And what's the projected order of finish for the SEC East? Can South Carolina make a run at it? I found some well-known writers that say they'll finish as high as second in the division. I've seen others project them to finish sixth in the division. We'll take a look at both and see who you line up with next on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate. Gables. All right, guys, got a live read right here. Stay right there. We'll be right back.
much more, all on a Hump Day episode.
Offsides with Mark Ryan.
The Rob Brown Show rolls on. It is the Fan Upstate. Rob Alonzo with you. 844-326-3663. Text us 71307. Start your text with FAN, F-A-N, FAN, F-A-M. We will read them on the air. And, of course, tweet us at the Rob Brown Show, at Lonzo Onward. A couple of texts you guys have sent in so far. Texter said, as a Clemson fan, that's absolutely not true. Every Tiger fan I know hopes DJ does well. Lonzo, your hate for Clemson is fine, but stop spewing things that you absolutely do not know, end quote.
Really? So I didn't read some things about that. You, sir or madam, are not me, and you don't know what I have read on social media, including the last thing that I read on Twitter, I believe it was, when DJ got drafted by the baseball team. Well, that makes sense. His head was on baseball and not on football. You know, that's just one of the things I saw. But, you know, you just – sorry, I'm trying to rile him up more with the Tiger growl, because that does that, you know. It's so loud when they play that in the stadium. It's unbelievable.
Texter says, a wrestling fan taking cracks at the Big Bang Theory? LOL, 5 exclamation points. My cracks at the Big Bang Theory don't come from a place of being a wrestling fan. It comes from being a place of being a nerd. The Big Bang Theory is a show about what dumb people think nerds are. And that's not it, man. That's not it. All right? Like, I get it. It is just a show of stereotypes about nerds. And they're like, sure, there might be some people like that, but that ain't it, boss. That ain't it. Texas said the Big Bang Theory How are you people not texting the show until it's time to rush to the defense of Sheldon? How is that your trigger? What is that? How is it the Big Bang Theory is what gets you on the text line? I invite you every segment to text the show about sports. And it's like, nope, but he said something about Sheldon, and I can't let that stand.
Here's the thing. I mean, people, they appreciate our takes on sports, and they don't have a lot to add to it. But when it comes to pop culture things, or if you're an angry Clemson fan, which most of them are, then you're going to want to come at me as far as that goes, which I love, by the way.
I guess.
But you are the only person I've ever heard disparage Big Bang Theory. I was told, oh, you should watch this. I watched a little bit. I was like, yeah, this is not for me. This is lame. It really is lame.
Texas said there's a Black Mirror episode about the likeness of actors, just using them for their likeness, and everything else is AI. Yeah, that's one of the big things, man. That's one of the big things is they want to capture actors, and they basically purchase the rights to use their image in perpetuity, created by CGI and AI. And that, you know, like, I mean, I guess, but like, if you want to use my image for the rest of time, you need to compensate me for the rest of time, not $200. And that's what they offered. And that's the big problem. Texter said, the Big Bang Theory is terrible television and y'all should feel bad. He's talking about the Texters. And yes. There's a million shows better than that. Texter said, I'll second that texter about DJU. And another texter said, I agree with that texter about DJ. So there you go.
Yeah.
Texter said, not all 5 stars work out. I have no ill feelings for DJ. You know, look, I think there's.
It's good to know that there are still Clemson fans listening to this program. I am, you know, we love you, every one of you, and we would never do anything to try and drive you away. At least I would. So I'm playing the roar. I'm trying to get them pepped up. They probably may be having a bad day, and they hear that roar that they hear in the stadium that really gets them wanting to spell, but they can't remember how to spell. CLEMS. Dude, what's the next letter? N. There we go. You're welcome. I consider it a public service.
Send all hate mail courtesy of Lonzo. at the Fan Upstate.
Yeah, like I haven't seen that for the last couple decades. I mean, you know.
All right. Get a couple more stories in here.
Wait. You should read James's on the stream.
The one that says the Big Bang Theory
No,
is not good, all
no,
caps?
no, the last one.
DJ, you worked on his handoff skills. He might still be here. Wow.
Can't nobody hand the ball off like that there, Kane. Woo, Kane.
Texter said, we like to laugh at you, Lonzo.
They spell it AWN?
Lawnzo.
Oh, that's awesome.
Lonzo.
It's better than Alonzo.
Texter said, wrestling is fake and a production, but we can't like Big Bang Theory. No, you can like whatever you want. All right? You might be new to the listening audience there, Texter. Rob Brown is a big believer in like what you want, enjoy what you want. I won't judge you. Doesn't mean I won't have an opinion on the thing you like. If you want to sacrifice time out of your life to watch a show about what dumb people think smart people are like, have at it. But it's not going to stop me from saying it's bad. It's a bad TV show. It's a bad show.
I'm just curious, if you like that show, who's the smartest person you know in real life? Do they actually act like that?
Yeah. No.
There are a lot of smart people around here. They don't act like that.
Yeah.
Even the dumb ones don't act like that.
That's it. Just no, man. It's just a bad show. All right. Let's get away from the Big Bang Theory. All right. Let's get into something else. Let's get to this. I've been tracking as SEC Media Days are taking place over in Nash Vegas, Tennessee.
Yeehaw!
Yeah, buddy. Let me tell you something, boys. If you ain't never been to listen to some country music down in Nashville, you don't know what life's worth. Hell yeah.
Yeehaw!
In fairness, I freaking love Nashville. Nashville's an incredible city. Nashville is a great city. I'm bummed that I couldn't finagle the bosses into sending us to Nash Vegas.
You put forth some really good effort.
I gave it a run, boys.
You did.
Gave it a run. It's in Dallas, Texas next year. Lonzo, we want to go on down to the Big D, and I do mean Dallas.
Jerworld?
Jer Jones.
Jer
Jones. That's the 1970 Dallas Cowboys. All right. That's like a C- Hank Hill.
You mean America's team?
No, I mean Dallas's team. It's in the name. It's literally the Dallas Cowboys. Anyway, I've been keeping an eye on the preseason projections, predictions, and prognostications of SEC talking heads everywhere and what they're thinking about the Gamecocks of South Carolina. And it's been interesting, Lonzo, because they're all over the damn map. All right? They're all over the map. For instance, Bill Connolly of ESPN put up a piece on ESPN Plus the other day where he went and he discussed the SEC East with his colleagues out at SEC Media Day. He's got South Carolina finishing in a not so respectable 5th in the East in the final year that divisions are a thing. They picked Georgia to win the SEC East. No surprise there. I think everybody is.
Wow. Going out on a limb there, dude.
Big limb. Second place, he picked the University of Tennessee. Don't have a problem with that. I don't. I think Tennessee.
You mean that place that's mired in controversy right now?
On Rocky Top, right now I have it South Hills.
I'm glad you don't know the words.
I don't know. Something about mashed liquor in there. That's about what I got.
Yeah, revenuers. They don't come down from Rocky Top.
Dad, better burn on Rocky Top. Get down, never ever will.
That's beautiful. That's amazing.
Got Tennessee finishing second. In third in the division, they have the University of Florida. Got Florida checking in third. They've got Kentucky fourth and South Carolina fifth. Don't love it. I don't love it. You're not yet at a point. Listen, there are questions about the Gamecocks. I would be lying to tell you there aren't, but I don't see how you put Kentucky up there, man. I don't see how you put Kentucky up there. Now, I'm going to give you this. We did a week ago, 2 weeks ago, I asked you guys to put a ceiling and a floor on the performances of South Carolina, Clemson, and any other team you wanted to give me in the Southeastern Conference or the Atlantic Conference. And with the Gamecocks, knowing that obviously a percentage of respondents were going to be Clemson fans, efforting a skewing of the results. Lonzo, there were like two answers. South Carolina's going to be 10-2 in the regular season, or they're going to be 6-6, and there's no in between. None. Now, I said, for me, the expectation for me is 8-4. That's the expectation. That's if they win every game they're supposed to win, and at least one of the ones that they aren't. 8-4. That's my expectation. I said the realistic ceiling for South ceiling, best they can do is 10-2. And the realistic floor, the absolutely worst they can do is 6-6. And I kind of split the difference at 8-4. It seems to me like there's an immense sense of optimism and an immense sense of pessimism for South Carolina. And the question is, who's right? Right? Like, who's right? You go back to 2021. South Carolina went 7-6. They have 4 losses by 25-plus points. But they smoked Florida that year. I was at that game. They won the Duke's Mayo Bowl by 17. Shane got the Mayo bath. In 2022, the Gamecocks lost 4 games by double digits, including 3 to Arkansas, Mizzou, and Florida teams who were a collective roughly 500. But they finished the regular season by pummeling Tennessee and ending a 7-game losing streak to Clemson. In 2021, South Carolina had a very good defense and a mediocre offense. In 2022, they had an excellent offense and a mediocre defense. Really good special teams both times. But special teams helps you win games. It does not win games outright. So the question is, can they put it together? The optimist looks and goes, Spencer Rattler's back. Juice is back. You found some up-and-comers who might have superstar potential, guys like Eddie Lewis and Trey Knox and Josh Simon, all transfers in who could be immense helps. The pessimist, on the other hand, looks at Spencer Rattler, who finished the year very strong. And like I said, I think the reason he has come back at this point is because of the fact that he was going to be at the best a mid-round NFL draft pick. And if he can come back and replicate the Clemson and Tennessee games, he can jump up into the second, maybe late first round, maybe better. But he did finish the season 65th in QBR last season. He had 12 picks last year. He had a very high sack rate. That was what he got benched for at Oklahoma. Not getting rid of the ball, taking too many sacks, etc. He's lost Marshawn Lloyd. He's lost Jalen Brooks. And South Carolina, including in that Tennessee game, lived by the home run ball, and you've lost a couple of the big-time athletes that gave you home run balls last year, right? Hell, even that Tennessee game, Jaheim Bell was in on that. He had, a touchdown in the, I think the second touchdown of the game went to Jaheim Bell. You've lost playmakers at every position. You got a few coming back, but your running game is down. Your offensive line's a question mark. For a guy whose biggest criticism has been taking too many sacks during his career. So I don't know if it's possible, if it's the optimistic viewpoint I want to take, the pessimistic viewpoint I want to take, or if the truth is somewhere in the middle. ESPN's Bill Connolly says the discussion amongst his colleague has South Carolina finishing fifth in the East. And the only 2 teams he has them going over are Missouri, who, by the way, has given South Carolina fits in Shane Beamer's 2 seasons, and lowly Vanderbilt, the only team in the East that has a negative SP Plus ranking this year. But then I clicked over and I was looking at the Saturday Down South rankings of Connor O'Gara and his colleagues that he discussed this with at SEC Media Days. He submitted his preseason ballot, and he has the order of finish in the SEC East as this: Vanderbilt finishing last, Florida finishing 6th, Missouri 5th, Kentucky 4th, Tennessee 3rd, South Carolina 2nd, Georgia 1st. So on one hand, I got the SEC bros covering for ESPN, picking South Carolina 5th. I got the
Daggum snooty Yankees think they know how football's played down south.
And then I got the Saturday down south folks picking South Carolina 2nd in the East.
Real people who know what's going on.
Where's the truth? Where's the truth?
The truth is on the field, Rob, and we're going to find out when they get out there and play.
I know, but that's not
all this is well and fun and good.
That's not how radio works,
and the people up north are probably how many games did they actually watch? I am curious about the people who put together some of this. How many games do they actually watch of the teams that it's popular to say they're not going to do well, so we're just going to say they're not going to do well. And it's easy to say Georgia's going to win.
Well, look,
I mean, it is.
I'm going to push back and say that's not fair because it's my job and I watch all of the games. It's our job. These guys, it's their job too. Just to say, oh, you're going with the popular thought.
Wait. So you're saying because you do something, everyone else does. That's what I'm saying. So you're speaking for all of media. Everybody else has the tenacity, the ability to stay up all hours of the night and break this stuff down.
No,
they all care that much as Rob Brown does.
I'm saying that because a dude has a different opinion of you going, well, obviously you don't watch the games is not fair. I'm going to give Connor O'Gara the same amount of credit.
Well, should I apologize for hurting his feelings?
No.
Because I'm not gonna.
No, I'm saying to dismiss the credibility of someone whose job is to watch and write about football, I take that personally.
So,
right?
So he's doing the thing where he takes the media side.
Correct,
again.
because every time they're the bad guy, right? You are the media, bro.
No, you are the media.
You are the media.
You are the media. I am the people. I mean, that's how it is. You know, people's champ over here, media
over here,
media over there. You know?
Saying I have spent my career being told, "Oh, Rob, you don't watch ball. You don't know ball." That dude, I promise I watch more football than 95% of y'all out there. Right? That's not a shot. It's my job. I get paid for it. If you got paid for it, you would do the same thing. So I'm going to defend that guy. Here's what I'm going to say. I got zero problems about this. Zero problem with you ranking South Carolina 2nd and zero problem with them ranking South Carolina 5th. I got no problem with either because of that optimist v pessimist viewpoint. I can see a South Carolina team that rolled Tennessee last year, who, by the way, for a half and some change, had Hendon Hooker as their quarterback. Now they, I think, we'll find out, downgraded Joe Milton as their starting quarterback. You telling me Tennessee can't be, or South Carolina can't be better than them? They already were.
Hendon Hooker was there for 9 years, and what did Tennessee do?
I mean, last year were a top 4 team until they met the Gamecocks of South Carolina. They were South Carolina bumped not 1, but 2 teams out of the playoffs last year.
They got Yeller in their uniforms. That was fool's gold.
Yeller?
Yeller.
Here, Yeller. Come back, Yeller.
What the heck are you singing?
Best doggone dog. It's Old Yeller. That's a song from Old Yeller.
I don't recall hearing the song on Old Yeller.
In the West.
I'm sure you're doing a wonderful rendition.
I'm nailing it.
You know what? We really need to give away tickets.
Okay. Let me finish this thought. Then we're giving away AW tickets. South
We're
Carolina.
going to do it right here in this break.
Right here in this break.
That's just a warning. It's a tease.
South Carolina 2nd, no problem. South Carolina 5th, no problem. Because I can absolutely see South Carolina doing what they did to Tennessee last year. And if they can do that to Tennessee, they can do it to Kentucky. They can do it to Mizzou. They can do it to Florida. They can do it to Vanderbilt. I can also see South Carolina doing what they've done the first 2 years of Shane Beamer's career and blowing a couple of games they shouldn't lose. Mizzou, Florida, etc., and falling down the list. The question is, did they turn the corner and will they win all the ones they're supposed to? And the answer is, check with me in November and I'll let you know. Caller number
2.
Caller number 2 right now is winning a pair of tickets to All Elite Wrestling's Saturday Night Collision, Saturday, August 5th at the Bon Secours Wellness Arena, downtown Greenville. I will be there. Samoa Joe will be there. CM Punk's probably going to be there. It's going to be a good night at the Well. I'll be there. You could be too. If you're caller number 2 right now, 2 tickets to Saturday Night Collision from All Elite Wrestling. Give it away right now. We're back after this on the Rob Brown Show.
Wait. Give the phone number. You didn't give the phone number.
They should know it by now.
Give the phone number.
844-326-3663. 844-326-3663. Caller number 2 now wins a pair of tickets to All Elite Wrestling Saturday Night Collision, Saturday, August 5th. Now we're back after this on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate. All right, guys, we got to clip the break while Alonzo answers the phone. We'll be right back. All right. All right. I'm Ron Burgundy.
Who there? Who that?
Who dat?
No, I'm quoting a movie. I'm quoting.
Baby? Who
I'm
dat?
quoting a
Love
movie.
to hear Lonzo drop his hat on me.
Although Who Day is first, but I was quoting Waterboy, by the way, which was in New Orleans. So I mean,
It was not. It's in Southeast Louisiana.
whatever. I don't.
Go Mud Dogs.
It's all the same. Wait, you mean New Orleans isn't a state? Oh, I don't even notice what time it is. Probably should do. Yeah, we're gonna. Yeah, I guess we'll have time. Yeah.
If the weather calls for rain, then the rain calls for mosquitoes. Keep them away with STEM. STEM is powered by active ingredients found in plants to repel mosquitoes safely and effectively when used as directed. STEM, rooted in nature, optimized by science. This afternoon, humid with thunderstorms, high of 86.
Well, that is part of it, Joe. You're right. The Mud Dogs did beat Clemson. I forgot about that.
You guys remember that Bobby Boucher shut up and the Mad Dogs won the Bourbon Bowl?
Well, look at that. It's almost the end of the show. Time for Twitter trending topics. What I tell Rob what's trending, he would tell us why. I'm doing it really fast because we only have a little bit of time. First thing that's trending is Draymond Green.
Draymond Green is trending because he just said congratulations to Chris, who won the pair of tickets to see All Elite Wrestling's Saturday Night Collision on August 5th. That being said, I have no idea why Draymond's trending. What idiotic thing did he
All right.
do this time?
He was talking about the Pat Beverly situation while he was on the podcast. And he said there's some things men shouldn't say to other men. He's talking about why he punched him. That there was more leading up to it than just one thing that was said.
I totally believe that,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Look, even Dre, even Cray Dre doesn't just wail off on a dude over a single incident,
Everybody's got that line.
Yeah.
And with him, you probably would.
It's probably a closer line than most guys. But, like, even in a game, like, if think about it. If Dre could hair trigger like that, he'd have done it in a game at this point. I have no doubt that was a tipping point. But here's the thing. You still can't just cold cock your teammate in the face, dude.
Yes, you can. Yes, you can. And then that teammate will be gone and you'll still be on that team.
If Draymond Green was not a world-class basketball player, if he was anybody else, he'd have been in jail.
You're right, but he wasn't. But
he's a world-class basketball player.
Yeah, there's that. All right, the next thing that's trending is Anthony Richardson.
So Anthony Richardson had a really good rookie camp. Really good rookie camp, from what I understand. To the point that I've seen a couple of writers predict him to beat Trevor Lawrence in the AFC South. But that's not why he's trending.
All right, he's trending because it's being said he needs to earn his spot.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he hasn't yet. So
about every rookie.
Minshew, man. Minshew mania.
Minshew mania.
I can tell you, Pat McAfee appears to be concerned by that comment because
because if you can't beat out Gardner Minshew, what the hell did you draft him for, dude?
Yeah, there's that. And finally, Dom Dom's trending.
Because Dom Dom is your new NXT North American champion. Put some respect on the name of Condom. He deserves it. And if you don't, probably shiv you.
He knows Benny.
Speaking of wrestling, Fight Club tomorrow, 11:20. We'll break it all down. Y'all have a great rest of your day. Don't drink a job. I'll punch you in the face. Thanks for listening. We're back tomorrow on The Rob Brown Show and The Fan Upstate. Later. Yeah.
Hey, Chris is behind you.
Hi, Chris. Thanks, Lonzo. Appreciate the heads up.
Just looking out because that's what I do, yo.
Much appreciated.
Looking out.
Much appreciated.
No Clemson fan thinks that about DJ. We love him. Yeah, right. You ain't fooling nobody.
Have a great day, everybody.
Tune in later where you get your butt kissed.
Thanks for hanging out. You want to say anything else?
No, I'm good.
All right, bye.